Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Rugby Bash. My name's Bruce Aitchison and my happiness is egg-shaped and I am delighted to be your host for today. Have we got a show for you? Two absolute rugby legends, one from Scotland, one from England, just to keep things fair, and I will be very impartial because nobody is going to know which team it is I want to win. Come on, Scotland. So I hope you are sitting comfortably in the comfort of your own living room with your own TV on, but with us for company. Have you got your box from Snackfully? I have. I am into it already. The chorizo cuts disappeared as soon as the box is cracked open. Delighted. So gone. They didn't make it to match day. I hope all's well. It's going to be an absolutely cracking game. You've probably just finished watching Italy against France. France are looking decent. That is some team. They are going to take a fair bit of beating. Now, our guest today, one, is just up the road from me, literally just up the road from me, could be there in 5 minutes. The other one has travelled pretty far and is beaming in from the other side of the Atlantic. How cool is that? So although lockdown means we can't be there, means we can't be together, means we can't be in the local rugby club, we can't be down the pub, we can't be watching on the big screen, what we can do is watch it with a couple of rugby legends. So Rugby Bash in your living room with a couple of legends. So you don't want to listen to me all day. We need to bring in the stars of the show. One of them stood out there on the wing for a lot of the time, scored tries for fun, played for Edinburgh, went down to Harlequins, did some good stuff there, played for Scotland, loved to score tries. Playing England was always tough, let's put it that way. And then we have a former England captain who has now decided to leave these shores and go and find some sunshine in America. You know who they are. I know who they are. Let's have a chat to them. Welcome, Tim Visser and Chris Robshaw. Tim Visser with a mouthful of chips.
Hello, hello. How are you, Bruce?
I am very well. Robbo, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. I'm in a hotel in San Diego at the moment. I'm on my kind of my orange juices and yogurts and stuff like that, unlike Tim there enjoying his Heineken. Yeah, slightly different time difference, but no, it's good to see you, and I'm looking forward to this game.
Now, anybody that follows you, Robbo, on Twitter needs to know, did you get a kettle for a cup of tea?
Yeah, we did. Luckily, Amazon's pretty big over here as well. Yeah, we ordered one in, but yeah, it was a strange kind of first morning. Of course, a bit of jet lag, waking up quite early. What a nice cup of tea, being pretty English. And yeah, there was no kettle, so I took to media to see what they did, and it was in the microwave. We're sorted.
Oh, it was in, of course. Where else would you put a kettle if you're in America? I love that. He's pretty English. Speaking of being pretty, Tim Visser, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm actually, I reckon if I look out of my window here, I could probably see you sitting in your office. I'm really not far away.
Yeah, you're really not far away. Now, Chris says he's pretty English. You're not even close to being pretty Scottish.
No, I'm not pretty. I'm also not Scottish. Obviously, I was talking to someone through the week about this, about Duhan van der Merwe playing for Scotland and how special it really is. And I think it's almost more special. And I would say that, but it's almost more special playing for a country that's not your own country, because I think you have to really be accepted by that country to get a chance to do something like that. And I'm obviously incredibly proud of that. But no, I think it's an amazing thing to do. And
you obviously love to sing the anthem, Tim.
God, I love to sing the anthem. Ideally 5 or 6 times in a row. I mean, we all heard this story. I need to bring this. Are you going to bring it up again or not?
I'm going to bring it up again. Tell us about singing the national anthem.
I enjoy this story. I would like to hear it. I would like to.
Robert, I mean, you've seen me in some painful situations, not just on the rugby pitch, but on your own stag do, on some of our Ibiza trips. I've been in stupid situations, but this one probably beat it all. I was going to make I was on my first tour for Scotland and I hadn't qualified yet. It was a June tour and my date of qualification was, I think it was the 16th of June. So we were leaving, say it was the 1st of June, I don't know. We were going to Australia, Fiji and Samoa. So I knew if I had the chance to play during that tour, I knew I needed to obviously sing the anthem. And I had sung it, you know, in the stadium because I've been to a load of Scotland games. But anyway, I thought I'd have some time to just kind of get it right and get practicing and all that kind of stuff. And literally the bus left the Murrayfield gates, and one of the Ritchie brothers, it must have been the older one, yeah, the younger one wasn't playing for Scotland yet, literally grabbed the microphone. He was like, right, Tim Visser, anthem check. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I literally, I knew it, you know, when you sing a song and you kind of know the words, but not all of them, you kind of brush over it. So I'm at the front of the bus and I'm like, fuck. And I've literally gone, the flower of Scotland. And obviously everyone's listening word by word. You know, and fair enough. So, but literally they heard the, and they started screaming some abuse like you've never heard it this bad. And I was literally like, get down, you thief, you impersonator. Like literally anything that could have happened. And anyway, I've sat back down, you know, back in my box kind of thing. I was like, oh, finally, it's over and done with. They made me do it another 5 times throughout this tour in the first week, essentially, until I managed to get it right, because obviously the tiniest little word difference, and it's sometimes sung in different ways, you know, and people were feeding me the wrong stories. Jeff Cross was constantly feeding me the wrong words, and then he'd be like, wait, watch this, and I would get nervous, man. It took me 6 times, and then I finally had it, and they were like, yeah. And this was actually the week where we played Australia out there, that memorable win in the Hailstones, which was amazing, which I couldn't play in because I hadn't qualified yet. But that was the week I finally got it right. So it took me a while.
I enjoy how with Scotland you have to have a national anthem check just to make sure you understand it and know. And
England have got a load of foreigners.
So, Robbo, you've headed across to San Diego. Are you sad to be away at Six Nations time?
Yep.
Who's
exciting you in this England squad? Who's getting you off your seat, do you think?
Oh, hello.
Oh, we've lost Robbo. This right. Talk me through this. Talk me through Cam Redpath.
Sorry, we're back in.
Unbelievable. Do you want to go, Robbo? Are you back, Robbo?
Nah, forget it. Cam Redpath. I want to know about Cam Redpath. I reckon this kid is getting player of the match today. So here's a question in from Jack Lynch. What are the guys' thoughts on Cam Redpath's decision to switch to Scotland after playing for England on a long time, and how do they think he will go against Lawrence? So how do you think Cam Redpath's going to go?
I mean, Lawrence obviously a hugely physical player. He's there to kind of substitute Tuilagi, which is never an easy task, but he's a hugely powerful player. But, you know, forget about that. If you look at Redpath, and I think he thoroughly deserves his chance, he's got something that currently none of the Scotland centres have. He's really strong in his upper body. He's a very balanced runner. So he's one of those guys that when he runs, it doesn't look like he's running very fast. He's very comfortable in his running pattern, but he's also very strong in his upper body. So if you look at a lot of his breaks, he almost always gets his upper body free, which means that he can offload, and he offloads really well. But I think, and this is probably the other thing that we're kind of missing with Scotland at the moment, is he's got really, really good hands. He's a great distributor, and we've got some, you know, fantastic wingers in Duhan van der Merwe coming through and being incredibly powerful and strong. But if we don't get the ball to these guys, then you know, they're just there for a jolly, really. And I think hopefully he can kind of bring that balance in the midfield where you know, he can get us on the front foot and make those breaks that you want, but he can also, you know, get the ball a bit wider and kind of have those velvety hands. Robbo's given up on it. And I think
we need to
I'm
bring
going to move to different locations. Sorry.
We need to bring those other players in, don't we? Those Duhan van der Merwe, Stuart Hogg. Stuart Hogg was only really becoming a threat because he was getting the ball kicked to him. So now what we're looking for is somebody to bring him into the game.
Well, this is it, and I think also, you know, as soon as other teams have realised that, and they've realised that for a long time now, that you don't really want to kick to Stuart Hogg. But the moment you kick the kids, the moment they know that and they stop kicking towards, that kind of, you know, takes that whole sort of bit of the game away from them. And I think the problem we've had more recently with Robert giving up, he's gone, is that, you know, with Chris Harris in midfield as well, he's more of a carrier, so we weren't seeing the ball coming out that much. And then You know, in the other, you've got Hugh Jones, really good with ball and hands, but also more of an outside break kind of guy, and James Lang, obviously my old Quins teammate, he used to be a 10, but he's more of a carrier as well, so that doesn't help things. But yeah, I'm really excited about him. I think he's going to bring a really good sort of balance in that midfield, and I hope he gets through his first cap, because there's a bit of an emotional baggage there with him being attached to England initially.
Yeah, but his old man Basil is absolutely delighted that he's chosen Scotland. I think it would have been an interesting one with him getting into the lounge as a dad to an England player. So, yeah. Glen Turret are our sponsors. You've got your bottle there, ready to enjoy and toast a Scotland victory.
Oh, good. Oh, God. Listen, I'm a bit like yourself. I kind of tucked into it last night already. It didn't quite make it. So I think everyone's got them in their boxes as far as I understand things, but I managed to squeeze myself just a slightly bigger one. And I had a wee drama already last night. And if Scotland go well, this might start happening in the second half. If they don't go well, this might also start happening in the second half.
Yeah,
I think you'll probably drink it quicker if they don't go so well.
He's back.
Robbo's confident.
I think going back to the red path now, I think there's going to be and I think you have to be. I think there's going to be a good match up there between him and Ollie Lawrence. I think actually they're a similar age, probably come through, maybe even played age group together, known each other quite well. And there's a great little match up there to see. And like you said, Redpath's a big guy. Everyone assumes he's quite a slight guy, but he's probably 6'2", 6'3", broad, breaks tackles. He had a fantastic game. I think Bath played Wasps just before. No, I think it was Wasps just before the international break, and he was superb, making breaks, scoring tries. So yeah, I would like to see him and Finn Russell, see how well they complement each other. Of course, we know the dangers that Finn Russell can create, but also, no, in England, they're definitely going to go after him. They're going to try to put him under pressure, give him slow ball, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Robbo, Owen Farrell's obviously a different beast from Finn Russell. And you playing in the back row, you're saying they're going to get after Finn Russell. What does that look like? How do England get after Finn Russell? What is it they can do?
Yeah, look, I think with it, you always try and go after the better players and the key players, and that's the 9 and 10s and the guys who are going to control the game as much as possible. Because if they have time, if they have space, they're going to be dangerous. And as we've seen with Racing, when Finn Russell is on front football, he's got that massive Racing pack, getting him over the game line time and time again. He is an incredible player. But will it be slightly different? England's pack is a physical pack. They're going to be trying to stop kind of Scotland on the game line. Then all of a sudden, you don't quite have as much time and space. So there's going to be the likes of Maro Itoje going after him time and time again, Tom Curry, Mark Wilson as well. And they're going to put him under pressure. And look, Finn Russell's not the type of guy to back away from a challenge from what I know and what I see of him. And you've got him in more the kind of magician, and probably Owen Farrell in a more kind of pragmatic, calculated fly half. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant matchup. And I think with a Lions year, and players never want to say, I want to go in the Lions, and we've all been there and wanted that kind of experience. But they'll be wanting to play well against each other today, because they'll be knowing all the media are kind of matching them up and all that kind of stuff.
But
so
do you not think
they'll be wanting to put themselves out there.
They may play together. Do you not think they could potentially play in the same backline?
Yeah, I do. And I think we've seen Farrell play 12 a lot, especially outside forward. And I would say Ford and Finn Russell are probably more similar types of players, like to play flat to the game line, lots of kind of wide passes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that would complement each other very well. And I think from a neutral and a fan's point of view, it'd be great to see.
Yeah. A question on the screen here. Do you guys think England are better with Farrell at 10 or at 12 with Ford at 10? Robbo, you're the man in the know. What do you reckon? If you were Eddie Jones picking the team, would you start Owen Farrell at 10?
Yeah, I think he is. I think that Owen's a key guy. He's, I think, 29 now. He's got 88 caps. And even when we first came into the England setup, and he came in at the same time as me, he was confident, he was vocal, he's assertive, he knows where he wants to take a team. And you take Owen out of a training session, I think the volume drops by about 60-70%. he's that demanding. He knows exactly where he plays at fly half. Generally, they're looking for a bit more of a physical side. Probably maybe not playing quite as wide. Whereas it seems when they play four, perception is they want to play a bit wider because then they've got those two playmakers there straight away. Where now they've got Ollie Lawrence. We know Slade's a bit of a playmaker. He likes that 13 channel. So I'm glad to see him back there. And the skills that guy's got are phenomenal.
Slade's a quality player. Gents, there's a question in here from Ollie Brook. Who would be, well, they've asked for three. We'll go for one. Who is your stick-on for the Lions tour? Vis, give us one from each team. Give us a Scottish Lion and English Lion.
Oh, for me, I think Hamish Watson's got to go. I think he's been absolutely amazing for years. I mean, even when I was at Edinburgh, he was so physical. I think he has to go, if he can keep himself fit. I mean, from England, half the England squad will probably go. It's basically England and a little bit of the rest, isn't it? Now, I can imagine, the Vunipolas and Farrell, and there'll be a load of them going, but more from a Scottish perspective, from myself, I would also love to see Jamie Ritchie go, and I think he's really stepped up since the World Cup. They had that game over in France as a warm-up, and it was terrible. We were getting pummeled, and he was just standout, kept fighting. His work rate was ridiculous. He was amazing, and he's become so good over the ball, which is something that probably haven't seen since Kelly was playing for Scotland. So I think he's instrumental. But there's a couple of others. Obviously, Finn Russell, Stuart Hogg. We may well have quite a few guys going.
Yeah, always optimistic. Robbo's laughing under that stony
No,
exterior. Robbo,
right.
I'm going to hit you with a couple in one here, Robbo, because Tim's right. Let's face it, England are going to dominate the Lions squad, but what's the clash of the back row going to be today? Because that's probably a Scottish strength. And then there's a question in here saying, what does Mark Wilson bring to England's back row? So what's the battle going to be, and what role does Mark Wilson play?
Yeah, I think that's going to be...
You got him? I can't hear him.
No, he's disappeared. We're going to bin Robbo.
Gone like that.
Folks, listen, here we go. I'm going to give you a little bit of info here. So there's going to be two competitions today. One is if you can tweet us with a picture of your box and how you're tucking into your setup, show us your screen, show us. Tweet us a picture at RugbyBash. Give us the hashtag, tag Tim, tag Robbo. Get those on, and you can win a ticket to one of the future games. So you can choose what game you're going to pick. Next week, we've got Wales against Scotland with Jamie Roberts and Johnny Beattie. But you can choose a game of your choice for your household. Now, the other competition, which we will kick off at half-time, is the man of the match competition, the player of the match. So it has to match up with the ITV coverage. You are going to send in your name and the name of the player, and the winner will be chosen, and you will get quite a cheeky little prize, but we'll talk more about that at halftime. So we've got two competitions on the go for you, but make sure you're tweeting us with your pictures of your box, how you're tucking into them. I'm hoping to stop talking a wee while so I can finish these off, because I absolutely love them. And we're delighted. Thank you to Snackfully. And it's now time to hear from our main sponsor, Glen Turret, the whiskey that Tim is going to enjoy to either toast a Scotland victory or maybe just to ease the pain a little bit of an England victory. Who knows? Quiet, Robbo, quiet. Here's a word from Glen Turret.
Here, at Scotland's oldest working distillery, everything we do is underpinned by the three touchstones of the Glen Turret Trinity: provenance, prowess, and passion. Our extraordinary provenance is founded upon the long history of this special place, the remarkable endeavours of past generations of owners and distillers. and the unique character of the new make spirit that continues to define the Glen Turret today. Our traditional prowess is built upon the skill and expertise that goes into handcrafted whisky making. An unusually slow
Oh, munch. When
You caught him in the act.
yeah, Robbo, back row. Talk us through it. You froze when we got to you there.
Yeah, sorry,
Scotland have got a bit of a strength there. So what's it going to be like, and what does Mark Wilson bring?
Yeah, like you said, like Tim said a little bit earlier, I like Jamie Ritchie. He's physical, he's abrasive, he's very much in the mould of Tom Curry. I've seen him quite similar players, physical in terms of that. And Hamish Watson, he's a tough guy to tackle. I tried it myself a couple of times, I've fallen off. He's powerful. He's probably not the biggest guy, but he's like a ball of muscle. You hit him, he just keeps on going and going. And I think for those two in particular, they've got to try and put Ben Youngs under pressure, slow England's ball down, slow it down as much as possible. But yeah, Mark Wilson, and a lot of people would have said, why is Jack Willis not playing? Why has he not come straight in with the likes of Sam Underhill, unfortunately missing out with injured? But he's a very understated guy, good guy, but he works hard. He just does everything really, really well, whether it's carrying, line-outs, tackling, and stuff like that is so important for a team. He might not be the guy making kind of 50-meter breaks or that, but he'll get a couple of turnovers. He'll do his line-up, do this. And it's those kind of glue parts that Eddie Jones calls them. It just fixes it all together. And it allows the rest of the pack to play well and to move forward. But yeah, I think that's another key battle we have out there today.
Is Mark Wilson an Eddie Jones player? Is there an Eddie Jones type?
No, I don't think so. I think Eddie Jones likes everyone. He likes the best players, whoever it is, whatever your character.
Does he like everyone?
I don't know if he would like you, Tim, but I think with Eddie, if you're a good player, he wants people who are going to work hard. He doesn't mind people enjoying themselves off the pitch. We've seen players have misdemeanors and whatever else. But after they've had their punishment, he doesn't hold grudges. They're straight back in, as long as they're working hard, as long as they're the best player. All that kind of stuff is hugely important. But the thing with Eddie, he treats everyone differently. He respects everyone. So if you're an extrovert, he'll treat you like that. If you're an introvert, he'll treat you differently and have quiet words. If you're someone like a James Haskell, he'll take the mick out of you all day. But that's what gets the best out of him.
He's an interesting guy, Eddie Jones. As I was saying to you in the backstage, I'm reading Joe Marler's book at the moment. He seemed to enjoy half a dozen bottles of red with Joe Marler to try and get the best out of him. Is that?
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah, he enjoys his red. Actually, when South Africa won the World Cup back in 2007, I think it was. Apparently, Scott Berger is a big drinker. Not an alcoholic. Don't get me wrong, but he likes to have a glass of red or a beer most days, every other day. So I'm told. So, and a lot of the other players I don't think would, but him and Eddie Jones would go down after training and have a beer or two most nights, or a glass of red, and obviously we saw what a player Scott Berger was, especially around that World Cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does enjoy a bottle of red.
Vis, do you think if Tooney and Finn had gone for a few beers, we might not have had that little hiccup?
God, we would have had Finn in the Six Nations last year. I know. And Finn loves a drink, don't get me wrong. Probably not red wine, but he'd probably take that as well. But yeah, it's always a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Like, do you want players to just be themselves and do what works for them? You know, you need to obviously keep an eye on them, and you're ultimately responsible for them as well. But players, especially at that level, they should know what works and doesn't work for him. I think if Finn wants to have a pint, give him a pint, because it's obviously working for him.
This Johnny May is in a lot of people's fantasy league teams, fantasy Six Nation teams. He seems to, Eddie Jones, I don't know if he's going for a beer or if he's giving him a cuddle or a kick up the backside or what he's doing, but Johnny May loves to score tries.
No, it's obviously working. Whatever he is doing, it's obviously working for him. I think, the player he was at Gloucester all those years ago, where he was, quick, great try scorer, hard working, but from what he's done to kind of get to the next level, I have no idea what it is. But in those sort of 4 or 5 years, he's just completely flicked the switch. Even just small examples like, at Gloucester, they used to chase high balls quite hard, but they never really catch them. They would just try and tap them back or whatever. But if you look at the player that he now is under the high ball, he's absolutely excellent. He's a good defender. He works hard. He's obviously rapid, and likes to score tries. But there's not a whole lot that he really can't. He's probably not a great kicker, but he's as a winger from what you'd want from a winger like him, in terms of world standards. He's up there. He's just consistently good, and actually probably one of the standout players for England over a long time now, over the last 2-3 years, I'd say.
So did he have to get away from? Do you think the thing that made the difference was Gloucester too easy? Was it comfortable? What was, trying to find the secret formula? What was it that got him to jump ahead?
No, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what's going around his head, and apparently I would get on with him quite well because he's slightly odd. But
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to ask Robert. I have no idea.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on in Johnny's head, to be honest. It's kind of it's all over here and everywhere and all that. But I think with Johnny, and he's another example, I think, of Eddie's kind of man management of him. He when Johnny kind of first came into the camp, and Eddie does is he tests the young guys. He tests them to see if they're up to international rugby, because it is tough out there, and especially under pressure, all that kind of stuff. So he would be playing. I think he was playing for Gloucester, or maybe Leicester at the time, and Johnny would drop a ball, and Johnny would go to his phone after a game, and there would be messages at that exact minute of the game if he had actually gone back and see, why did you drop this ball, all this kind of stuff. But now you look at him, and he's developed, and he's actually in England's leadership group. He's really he's one of the key guys in the England setup, because he is, like I said, he is a bit scattered, a bit all over the place, as you can probably tell by the way he plays. But the influence that he now has on that back three, his development over that time, he's a world-class winger.
So this is the beauty of this game. You've got Joe Marler, who likes to have 6 bottles of red with a coach. You've got Chris Robshaw, who is the ultimate professional. The man is an Adonis. And then you've got Johnny May, who can't tie his own shoelaces. And they all come together to make this rugby team. So there's a question in from, I think it's Simon. What's going through the minds of the players 20 minutes to go? So, Robbo, I would imagine you were vocal, being a captain. Joe Marler's probably laughing and joking and pulling people's shorts down, and Johnny May's trying to find his left boot. Is like, what's going on at the moment?
I'm just going to get some headphones quickly.
What's going on in the changing room 20 minutes before the game?
You know what? That's the best bit. When you get to the stadium, it is the best bit, because in the week it's so intense. You're training hard. You're nervous. You're worried. You're doing your recovery, different methods, all this type of thing. And you get to the game and you see normally not at the moment, but you see the thousands and thousands of people all over the place, and it's just absolutely incredible. And then you get out onto that pitch and you just see it get fuller and fuller. You start hearing the songs, some noise. And a lot of people, actually, it's trying to keep them calm. It's trying not to get too excited or too emotional early on. And then everyone will have their own routine. Like, the kickers normally go out about an hour and 15 before. And then you get the props who come out about 5 minutes before the game. So it is such kind of a mix there. But yeah, you're just trying to take it all in, but not be overwhelmed with it. Just make sure you're in the right frame of mind. Your body's ready to go. And that's when you see a lot of the good coaches. I remember Eddie does it well. You see Gatlin do it, I'm sure. Gregor does it. And they just walk around. They're just having quiet words. They might not be shouting everything here and there because their work is done. So they're just having quiet works. And they just go, I want you to bring this today. Focus on this. And that's it. Because a lot of times in those type of moments, you can't think of loads of things. You can think of 2 or 3 things, and then you can focus on that. If you ask any player what X, Y said before a game or halfway at a half time or post, you've got so many emotions. It's all going all over the place.
Tim, were you in the changing room thinking, I've got a try in me today? Or I reckon I've got a couple. Was that something you focused on?
No, yeah, I think I always knew on average I scored one every 2 games, so I always knew they were coming. And at one point I got into a bit of a thing where one of the players would come before the game and you'd go, I think you're going to score 2 today. And then I kept scoring 2, which was really, really nice. But I think Rob is quite right. You don't have that much to think about. For me, the worst period was always in the bus from the hotel to stadium, because you have to sit still and you can't control what you're doing. And that for me was always really tough. I couldn't concentrate on what I was doing, and that made it really, really tough. But the moment I walked off that bus and I had my routine, so I get to the change room and strap up, get my boots on, get all my stuff. I'd always be outside at the same time before the game, do my exact same warm up, and then you just kind of go into autopilot, and that's the kind of stuff that players rely on. Knowing what you're doing at set times gives us enormous comfort, still does now. But that I had no nerves. I never had any nerves from the moment I could walk around, which is really quite nice, because you'd sometimes look around. People like Tommy Seymour, for instance, he would be buried underneath a towel in the change room 5 minutes before kickoff. Like, people throw up. My player used to furiously throw up in the toilets. There's just people have all sorts of things. And for me, the worst time was on the bus to the stadium, and it's not helped by the fact that when you come into Murrayfield, that pipe band obviously goes in front of the bus. So after 10 minutes, you sit there and you're like, oh, just get me off this bus, get going. But the moment I could actually prepare, get ready for the game, it was fine.
Would you say you're superstitious, or have you just got routines?
No, routines more. I'm certainly not superstitious in life. I did always do the same things for rugby, because it brought me comfort, and I knew that if I did those things in the week leading up, but also the little things up to the game, I knew if I did those things, then I would be able to perform. And you can take enormous comfort for that, which probably also meant that I wasn't that nervous before big games. I played some really brilliant big games, against this guy and against the All Blacks Australian name, and I've been really really lucky in that regard. But some big games in the world, and it wouldn't have felt that much different in terms of nerves of going out for an under-18s game when I was a young kid. It's excitement, really. You want to get out there and play, and you're fired and you want to do as well as you can do. And I think, but yeah, I did really rely on routine. But if something went wrong or it didn't happen, then it was awful. Then I just went, fuck it, let's get on with it. Which is quite. I'm about to open my second one. Sorry.
I was listening to John Hall last night, Bath rugby legend, and he was asked a question that I thought was good, and I'm going to steal and ask you. For Scotland playing against England, this is, if and when we ever got to a World Cup final, that we'd beat this. But this is number one. Did England take this game that seriously? Is it that big a deal to England to beat Scotland?
I think of recent. I think. Look, you really want to beat the teams that are competitive and good, and I think there's periods where England have been very dominant over Scotland, and I think it does probably lose a bit of that edge. But I think of the last 2 or 3 years when Scotland have won, and then they had that, 3 years ago where Scotland won, then they had that epic game at Twickenham where I think it was 38-all. And then last year up in Scotland as well, I think it was like a 12-9 game or something in horrendous conditions. Yeah. Then I think it brings that edge back in, and I think it brings that excitement back in. So no, they'll definitely be kind of very up for this, and it's the first game. And as Tim knows, with Six Nations, one bounce of the ball in one game of these Six Nations can cost you a Grand Slam. It can cost you a championship. And you want to get off to a win, and you want to get off well. And that's the most important thing in this first game. But I think with England, and when I was involved, Wales were the team which we always wanted to beat, because they were the ones who gave us some big defeats, and they kind of put a lot of pressure on us. So I think, yes, there's definitely going to be an edge here. England missing a couple of players. Calcutta Cup, first game in the Six Nations. Of course, the whole kind of COVID kind of restrictions and world will add extra pressure. There won't be that kind of intensity from the crowd, so that's going to be a different atmosphere. But yeah, I definitely think England will be up for this.
Nice. Now, one of our viewers is Kerr Stewart down in Jedburgh in the Scottish borders from Laidlaw territory. Kerr's a pupil at Hoyk High School, where I actually used to teach, so I know Kerr. And when we were meeting this week to discuss what happened, I was told that Kerr has got a Make-A-Wish request in with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to meet the Scotland squad to make his wish come true, and unfortunately due to these circumstances that's not possible. So Richie at the Rugby Tour Specialist sent Dad a login, so it's great to see the Kerrs in Jedburgh. Thank you very much for joining us, and we have a little message from somebody especially for you, Kerr.
Hi Kerr, it's Hamish Watson here. I hope you enjoy the game this weekend. Hopefully we can get the win for you. I'm also here with my friend Jamie Ritchie.
Hi Kerr, really hope you enjoy the game this weekend. Really appreciate all your support and hopefully we can get you back into BT Murrayfield soon.
Cheers Kerr, have a good day. Bye mate.
Brilliant, good guys, and both Lions.
Brilliant.
We reckon both Lions. And Kerr, I hope you have a great afternoon, and we hope that you'll be smiling at. Well, I hope you'll be smiling at it. Tim hopes you'll be smiling at it. Robbo hopes you're going to be bloody miserable. I would have thought, because that's the kind of guy Robbo is. Right, gentlemen, we're getting closer.
There, luckily.
teams are on their way out. Let's have some predictions. Tim, score, man of the match. What's going to be crucial?
I mean, what's going to be crucial? It'll take the cup home, obviously. No, what? I mean, score. I think Scotland are going to win. I think it's going to be tight. Obviously, I think Scotland are going to win. I believe in that. But I think it'll be. I think through the week, what did I say? 31-29, tight like that. Hopefully, lots of tries. Duan Namura scoring a couple. I'd love for him to be man of the match because I think he's absolutely brilliant. Harrison H10 here saying, who do the lads think will win today? I'm going to say Scott Harrison. That's what I think. But we don't know, obviously. I mean, predictions are one of the worst things because I say now 29 and they're probably either going to win by a load or lose by a load. I have no idea, honestly.
Robbo, prediction? You a bit more confident with a scoreline? And who's going to be your man of the match?
Yeah, I think England are going to win. I remember now it's 33-19 to England. I'm going to go. I think there's going to be tries out there. But yeah, look, I think it's going to be a great game. Man of the match, I'm going to say Henry Slade. I'll go for him.
Oh, he's a quality player. Now, there's been a few question marks over Ben Young's selection. Does that mean that England are going to play a certain way with Ben Young's?
I mean, there always seems to be kind of questions about Ben Young's selection, but he always seems to play well for England, and he always kind of stands up. He's got a fantastic kind of relationship, whether that be with their forwards, kind of moving them forward, bossing them around the pitch, getting the best out of them, or making the back line.
Fantastic relationship with Eddie Jones.
I mean, he's got 100 caps as well. He's a serious player.
Yeah,
he's a serious player.
He's a very good player.
From mine and Tim's perspective, we would of course love to see Danny Kerr out there. At some point again, but
I just don't see that.
No, I don't see it. But I would like to see Harry Randall get a run out at some point. I think for Bristol, and Bristol played Quins a couple of weeks ago, and he was watching that game. He was superb. The speed he gets around the place is phenomenal. So yeah, hopefully he'll get a run out. But yeah, Ben Young's has been pretty good. I don't think he's 30 yet, is he? Or he might just be 30. So he's got years left in him.
And you see, he is a quality player. Oh, there's a good one. Tim, you going to join in with the national anthem?
Is that Sean Maitland? Is that Sean Maitland that just texted that in? He would say something like that.
There's quite a few boys in that Scotland
squad that
probably have had to go through a similar thing to you. There must be quite a few of them wondering what the 100%. National anthem is. Robbo, what do you think of Gary Graham? Definitely. He's obviously been performing pretty well, and he's on the bench. Is that going to be a good thing that he can come off the bench and cause a bit of havoc? Yeah,
I was actually in the England camp at the time where he came in. He came in and trained as well. So I don't know if he was just kind of coming in and infiltrating and kind of getting some knowledge about what was happening. But yeah, he's a tough character, and Newcastle have been going so well this season, and for him to be rewarded like that is great. But yeah, he's abrasive, he's aggressive, and he's kind of what you want from a back row player to come off the bench. So I think, look, I'm pleased for him. Look, and it's always great when guys get into the setups for the first time. Because I think unlike Tim, I think he's pretty Scottish. I think
he's pretty Scottish. He's old man Scottish.
Who? Because he lived in Newcastle. I used to live in Newcastle.
Yeah,
Newcastle.
George is like
Ridiculous.
Basil. He is Scottish. What do you think Hoggy's lid? This
Money well spent, I think.
He's had it fixed, isn't it? And he needed to get fixed. He was in horrific nick for a long time. He was looking 50 when he was 25. No, good on him. He's had it fixed, and
it comes to quite a few of us.
It's looking great.
Look at some of those lockdown hairdos.
I'm going to bend forward here because it's no good.
I see
Johnny
Warren
May's
Gatlin's
gone
in the stand.
straight level 2 over the top of it.
What, Warren Gatlin's in the stand? Is that important? Does that matter to the boys on the pitch?
Yeah, he's in the stand. I saw him there.
I don't think he knows whether he's in the stand or not, but they're watching everything at the moment. There's not a game or not a incident when they're not going to be watching.
Yeah, of course.
So I think, like we said before, they want to play well. Everyone wants to play well. Everyone knows it's a Lions year, and you want to get one over on someone who could be your competition there.
And do the boys sort of rally around? Like there's obviously guys in those, maybe more in the Scotland changing room than there is in the England changing room, who know they're probably not going to get a shout. But do they do something to help Jamie Ritchie, Hamish Watson?
No.
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought they're going to
focus on scoring and.
Yeah, if it was someone like Tim Visser, if I made a break, I would definitely find him if it was going to help. I would hold the ball up over the line and just give it to him.
And you have done that before. You've passed to me on a good break before. Put me away for a try.
Who have you had any chat from the? Have you had any chat from the Quins boys? Do you send them a message to say all the best?
I don't know if there's any Quins guys in there. I don't know. Or am I missing someone?
No, I suppose. And your mate Joe Marler's not there.
Yeah, well, I messaged him before, and Joe is a very family man, and we know kind of what he's done in the past in terms of pulling out stuff. And I think with Joe, it was. I think this camp in particular is going to be very kind of COVID restricted in terms of. I think in the whole 6-7 weeks they're allowed to go home twice.
Yeah,
he's got a young family. I think he's got 3 kids. And it was a tough decision for him, and I think with Joe, he's pretty good at making those tough ones at times. So look, he's definitely gutted not to be there. He's doing fantastic for Quins, so I mean, it's been brilliant for them. They had a good result today, a good win, and he's been brilliant to stay there and help them really.
This is one of the silliest things I've seen, right? So these guys are about to play rugby together, but they have to socially distance for the social anthem, for the anthems.
Oh, we're on kickoff. This England looking old. It's strange to see the classic jerseys.
Yeah, it always looks a bit strange, but as a player, they're always great to have. They're great to get some sort of different collection. So I wonder how many of them will want to swap them or keep them themselves today.
What happens to your jerseys, Robbo? Are they in a suitcase? Do you display them? Are they in the man cave?
Not like yours behind, I see. You got quite a collection.
Yeah, that's because a friend of mine's got a picture framing business, so I was trying to give him some cash.
No, look, I've got a couple framed, but yeah, a lot. In all honesty, are in bags, or I've given away. Or I always like to swap tops. I always thought it was great to swap tops and kind of find out and all that kind of stuff. So that was enjoyed. I don't know if we ever played against each other this internationally. But I would have liked to swap with you. It's nice to swap with kind of teammates, like playing against.
Yeah, I swap with Brownie, which is quite fun.
Yeah, the pride of him.
Yeah.
I tried to bid for a Tim Visser Newcastle shirt once, but I got outbid. There was no way I was going to 20 quid for it.
No, I wouldn't. Oh my God, come on, guys.
Mike Brown heading to Newcastle. That's a good bit of business for Newcastle, getting a quality player that looks like he's not going to play internationally again.
He won't tell me. He won't say
I think
anything.
so.
I
I think
spoke to
so.
him
I
a
think
couple
it'll
of
be
times
good
though.
for
He's like,
Newcastle.
"Oh yeah, what's it
Dino
like?"
knows his business. He knows what he's doing, and I think he'll be a good addition for that. I mean, I don't know. Is that a done deal, or is that just rumours at the moment? Or, I mean, normally if there's rumours, there's something
I think
there.
it's just.
No, he's gone. Mike
Nick East said it was done.
Who Nick Easter did?
Oh, it's been announced.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you said? Oh, it's been announced, is it?
Pretty sure he's gone. That's a good signing. Newcastle do good business taking boys who are still international quality but won't get to play internationally. Toby Flood's been immense for Newcastle.
But this season, they've just hit everyone by storm.
I think they're
good player, isn't he?
They seem like a happy bunch. Good pressure on the line out. Robbo, is line out going to be important today? England got some jumpers on the bench as well to come on and cause havoc.
Yeah, I think so. I think with anything, especially international rugby, that the set piece is so important. We see, and there's a lot of complaints, obviously, about kicking and are we kicking too much? Are we kind of evolving the game and all that kind of stuff? But you've got to play to what the rules kind of permit, and you've got to win your ball. If you can't win your ball 95% of the time, 90% of the time, it's tough, and the backs get frustrated. You can't kind of plant stuff and all that. So yeah, look, it is massive. Same as the scrum, because you always need to be able to go back to it. I think if in doubt, you've got a scrum, you've got a maul to win you penalties, to grind stuff out, and that's what England are pretty good at.
So now you're looking at into the hundreds of breakdowns in a game and almost single digits or certainly low numbers of scrums. How much time are you spending during the week on scrummaging?
The front five will do a fair bit. They'll do a fair bit of it. And yeah, line out, set piece. Set piece is such a well-trained part of the game. And then with Eddie in particular, it's very much about broken field. It's about kind of playing on the go, because he always says every picture changes. There's always something slightly different. So for him, yes, you need to be able to win your ball first and foremost and then do something with it.
Here's an interesting decision from Scotland. Penalty just outside the 22. Instead of going for goal, they've gone for touch. So Scotland line out just 6 or 7 meters from England try line. Is that, are sevens more important than threes for Scotland?
Come on, Scotland.
Visser,
I have no idea what they're. I mean, I'm just sorting out my snack situation. It's
If Scotland get a score here, it's going to make life a bit easier for them. If England are able to repel this one, it'll give them a huge lift.
But I think with that as well, there's the other way of looking at it. And if you go for the corner there and England manage to turn it over, the momentum swing is so big, and it can be draining for the Scots. It could be a huge lift for the English side.
Oh, now they pick up a penalty right in front of the stick. So from that line out, so Robbo, a similar theme here. Then they've gone for touch from 20 meters. They've now got a penalty bang in front of the post, and they take the 3. Is that a victory for England? That they escape with 3 rather than 7, or is it still disappointing to lose the 3?
Yeah, I think it probably is, to be honest. The fact they've gone for the corner and they've aimed to get 7 points, they're coming away with 3. I mean, from a Scotland perspective, great, keep building the score, but if you're going to go for the corner, you might as well take in the initial penalty otherwise.
Gregor looks delighted under that
Come
mask.
on. Why these boxes, King? Jeez. Loving that.
Yeah, I have
Chris,
to
how
say,
annoying does it get for you guys when there's a 5 metre scrum like that, or if there's a 5 metre scrum and the forwards just keep it in when you've got so much space out wide?
Oh, mate, it's the most brutal thing. You know what's the most annoying thing? Is when you keep getting penalties and then they keep taking scrums. And then I'm like, right, can we just tap and go and play, or just get it out of the scrum quickly and play? I'm standing on the whiff there, and there's no one defending me. And then the forwards get really confident. They keep scrummaging, and then inevitably, at some point, they lose it. Honestly, my head just goes really. I mean, it goes quite quickly anyway, but it'll go. He's actually box kicked now. That's good. How's everyone enjoying the boxes, guys? Can we get some pictures?
Oh, there's heaps of pictures.
Hey.
We'll get them at half-time. Just you behave yourself and watch the game.
Yeah, you just enjoy your beer, Tim.
I'm trying to.
I've just had. You didn't send my pack over to me.
You're on your second orange juice.
Was shipping too expensive, or? I'm on my orange juice, second cab.
I got your second bottle of Glenturret. I think this actually has your name on it, but it just never made it. Sorry, mate. Duty.
Yeah. When I'm back by
delighted.
the first round, I'll hold you to that.
I'll send you this, mate. I'll send you this to San Diego. Look at that. Number 46, GQ Best Dressed List 2016. What a guy. Awkward, eh? Twickenham empty. I'll tell you what this actually is, Bruce.
Yeah.
We have just somehow, this is now a rugby goggle box.
Yeah, you created
just say
something,
what you
haven't
see. Say what you see. I know.
Oh,
Well,
nudge.
Richie has.
Right, gentlemen, I need to know what you can see. Scotland have just kicked. England have got a line out in their own half, 12 metres in their own half. What are you watching right now? You're on.
Jamie George ball in his hand. Jamie George ball in his hand.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
He's thrown in.
He's a big lad.
Now.
He is so fit. I mean, obviously, he's like barrel-chested and stuff, but the fitness of the guy is phenomenal. I think it's just his genetics, the amount he trains and lifts and everything, and he can do whatever he wants. Like the best start he's ever had.
If he turned up at Netherdale for a gala session, somebody would say he's no stranger to a fish supper. But he is a quality player. I've not seen that for a long time, Robbo. Scotland forwards just stood off that catch and set up there. That was fashionable for a while, and it seems to have died a little bit.
Yeah, it just disarms. You don't want to do it too often, because if you get it wrong,
melted,
and the ball just keeps going forward and forward. Again, it's a momentum thing.
Yeah.
But again, now in England's minds, all game, he'll be thinking, "Oh, are they going to do it?" So when the jumper comes down on the ball, he'll hold it for that split second, instead of normally you get it in there and you transfer the ball back straight away. Now he'll have to hold it. Then it's easier if you're going to do a sack policy to get it straight on the floor quicker. It just disrupts the move for the rest of the game, and it's clever.
And that's one of those things that makes the game bloody awkward for people that maybe don't understand it quite so much. They must be thinking, "What on earth are they doing? Why are they doing that?" This game is a complicated game, isn't it?
No, exactly. And you just got to give different pictures, and you just got to keep guys kind of guessing and knowing and stuff throughout the whole time. And it will. And you get kind of the old kind of mentality of some old forwards coach who goes, "That's soft. You can't do that. Why are you doing that?" No, we hit every move. We hit every move. And again, it's just mixing the game up. It's just giving a little bit of a variety.
So Scotland penalty on bang on the halfway line.
And hold on. Because back in the day, that was never a big thing. But now, with rugby evolved the way it has, these tiny little things make such a big difference compared to the level that rugby used to get played at back in the day. Do you reckon that one of the things that maybe has the question mark over Finn to be a lion ahead of maybe Owen Farrell is the goal kicking?
No,
yeah, look, I think whenever Owen steps up, more often than not, I know we had the last England game, the Autumn Cup final against France, probably wasn't his best game, but then he keeps his composure to step up and nail a sudden death kick from the touchline. And I think that's the mentality you want from your kickers. And more often than not, his percentages are very, very good, Owen. And as a player, it's so good to have someone like that in your side, but also so annoying when you're playing against someone like that. And I played against Halfpenny a lot when he played for Wales, and it was so frustrating. Any penalty in your own half, and it'd be a penalty. And I think the benefit of having someone like Elliot Daly as well is brilliant. That 50 meters out, 55 meters out, you give a penalty away, and he can bang it over, and it's just like you've done nothing, and all of a sudden you're 3, 6, 9 down, and it's tough to compete with.
Vis, why doesn't Hoggy make himself a goal kicker? Why isn't Hoggy making himself almost?
He does, doesn't he? He takes some long range efforts sometimes.
But is that enough though? If the toss up is between a 15 for the Lions, who's obviously a quality player, but is the goal kicker, and Stuart Hogg, who is a quality player and is sometimes a goal kicker, is it those fine margins that get you in?
But it's not going to benefit him directly, really, is it? I'll tell you who it would benefit: having Finn at 10 and him at 15 for the Lions. That could then potentially work, but I don't think it necessarily benefits him, which may well or may not be why he doesn't do it. But I think, with the quality of goal kicking 10s you have nowadays, you don't really need to be able to kick as a 15. I mean, look at Mike Brown, has played, 80-odd caps? How many caps has Brownie got, Robert? About 80-odd caps? And can't kick a barn door.
Yeah, 70, 80, I think.
I hope he's watching this. He's actually doing the 3rd episode of this. He's doing Wales, England with Gareth Anscombe, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure quite how I feel about that. I think that's where am I going to get my front five and my forwards knowledge with Mike Brown and Gareth Anscombe? This I can't wait until half time when we start going through the scrummaging and the.
Oh, right, you asked me. Here we go. Rory Sutherland, great guy, great player. Tight head?
Yeah.
Anything back row forward, I'll have no idea. Never have. I just never had to know it.
There's Suz carrying now. He is some man. He's had a massive rise just recently, hasn't he? After injuries and some personal things going on, and now he's got himself in there.
He had a bad injury, didn't he?
Yeah. Is that why Sean Maitland's picked this? Let's get to something you do know. Is that why Sean Maitland's picked? He's just caught a huge kick and then he's applied some pressure to Johnny May. Is that what Sean Maitland brings you?
No, I don't think so. I think he's undoubtedly a good player, but I think he's picked because he is he's experienced. He's been in these games a lot of times. Would Darcy Graham have played if he was fit? Maybe, I don't know. But I think what Sean brings is he is so consistent week in, week out. It's never anything super sensational. Like he'll not make a length of the field break and all that kind of stuff. But he's always where he needs to be. He's always consistent. He's always good under the high ball. And he's been around the block, and you need that, especially in these kind of encounters. And, he's just put a lot of pressure on what is undoubtedly one of the best wingers in the world right now, Johnny May, and he's just dropped the ball like a schoolboy. So yeah, it's probably a good choice.
I think with also stuff like that, it's such an underrated thing to be able to sprint after kicks time and time again, whether that's going for them or coming back. And a lot of people say it's a no talent type of stuff, which you away in game and away in life, and stuff like that is so important, because then all of a sudden you've got 60 meters, and instead of a kick going up and it's probably a 80-20 more likely they're going to take it, you're creating kind of 60-40s, 50-50s, and you're almost starting to swing it in your favor. And it's so much easier getting out the pitch. You get cutbacks.
That should be a given at this level, but it's not. Some players do work harder than others.
Robbo, this is
when you're
perfect timing.
Playing this and you're in the backfield there.
Robbo, there's a belter. Scotland have just won the penalty at the scrum, and we've got a question in from Neely saying, have the lawmakers ruined the scrum? Every scrum now seems to be a penalty or a non-contest. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, it does. And the scrum, and I think unless you've been in that front row, no one really knows what's going in. There's a lot of dark arts, and every prop will tell you they've won each scrum. And more often than not, the team going forward and look for that kind of assertivity and stuff like that, get the penalty and they get the result. But in all honesty, yeah, we would like to play from a lot more scrums. A lot of it is actually dependent on the pitch. Obviously, no excuses on international pitches. They're all immaculate, but you go to some kind of club level pitches and they kind of ground gives way and stuff like that. But no, definitely international rugby, you should see a lot of things. But again, like I said earlier, if in trouble, whatever, and you need to get yourself out of trouble or down the pitch, if you've got a good scrum or a good maul, you can piggyback up and down the pitch and kind of get out of your half quite easily.
Scotland are going to Cam Redpath a lot. He's just had the ball straight off the line out, right over the top to him charging onto it. We've not seen that for a while either. Scotland look like they've got a few tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, get him in the mixer. I think it's always good to have
the Scotland today.
You go, mate.
I think that Scotland, I think the biggest thing for them is firstly to match England's physicality. And England have been the only team who really dominated them in terms of that aspect were probably South Africa and a little bit of Wales when they won the Grand Slam, but they've been pretty dominant there. And I think firstly, Scotland have probably got to match that. Might have to better it, but match it to give themselves other opportunities. Like you said, with the Redpaths, with the Finn Russells, then coming into the game. But I think if they're constantly on the back foot, you're then probably relying on a bit of magic or a bounce of the ball to go your way, which isn't always easy. But I mean, so far they've made a cracking start.
He's constantly kicking off the back foot here, and he's obviously right-footed, so he's kicking right to left, which means his kicking foot is closest to the defence. That's so difficult for kickers, and it's something that the general guy watching this on TV would never see. But that's one of the advantages you get from being on the front foot and having a big pat. If that defence is retreated, hasn't got time to come forward again, Finn Russell can put a naughty kick in and suddenly it works so much better.
But I think also with that, Tim, like I said, if a right foot kicker is getting the ball from right to left and you're kicking off your right foot, so it's coming this way and you're kicking that way, as someone trying to charge the ball down, you're so much closer to it. So you're getting there, you get a lot more pressure. Whereas that's why it's great to have both right and left foot kick, because then it goes that way. A left foot kicker can open their body slightly, and it just allows you an extra metre, 2 metres, and that could be a world of difference in times like that.
That's why Brownie, did so well for so many years. He's a great player, but he also gave England another kicking options off the left foot.
This game's far more open than I think I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure it out, aren't they? Good kick. I'll tell you one of the issues. It's not even the end of the first half yet, and I've finished all my snacks. I'm halfway through my beers, and now the bottle of Glenturret is just looking at me.
Yeah, we might need to get a bleeper for you, Visser.
I know. I've got lockdown issues, Bruce.
Yeah. He'll just fall asleep by the end. He won't turn the mic off. He'll just be snoring.
Pretend we've won.
There's a question come in from Lara asking, do you get the same buzz walking out onto the field for your 50th cap as you do for your first cap, or does the novelty ever wear off?
No, it never wears off. It's always exciting. I think in the 50th though, sometimes it can make you a little bit more nervous because you probably get a little bit more attention. More people probably reach out to you. You might have a couple more column inches. The family and friends maybe make a bit more of a bigger deal. More people want to come to the game in normal times, and that can make you a little bit more nervous. And there's something special about 50 caps. And with England, you get a little silver, you get a little plaque with a silver England cap on, which is lovely to have. But no, you never lose that. But I think, in all honesty, it's brilliant to play international rugby, but you miss the crowds, you miss the people there, you miss the people making the buzz, that electricity. That's why you want to play the game. You want to play in the stadiums and the atmosphere, and you feed off that energy. And now you've got to see the guys how mentally strong they are. How quick are they still getting off the floor when they haven't got people cheering them on and spurring them to get up a little bit quicker or to push, or like Tim said, with kick chasing and all that kind of stuff. It does make a big difference.
Yeah,
Vis probably is not that interested in crowds because he played for Edinburgh, Robbo.
There it is.
Murrayfield for Edinburgh games is known as the Library, Robbo.
Robbo's actually been to Murrayfield, played against Edinburgh, got his ass handed to him. Which wasn't a good moment because I was a Queen's player at the time.
Murrayfield is. I mean, I remember we went to Murrayfield with England. I reckon it was 2014, and the pitch. I don't think I've ever played on a pitch so bad. It was a year when I think Scotland had. There was something like garlic maggots or something.
It hadn't grown in.
Yeah. It
was it I don't think
the bug. No, it was the bug. It was like a ploughed field.
Yeah, it was the last year before they put in a new kind of Deso pitch. And honestly, I reckon you play better pitches when you're under 12 or something. It was
people they put a completely new pitch in, and it looked amazing, but it hadn't grown down. And then to try and get that bug out, they applied this like garlic fertilizer, and I was an Edinburgh player at the time. All of Murrayfield stank of garlic for 3 weeks. It was horrific. I mean, I like garlic, just not on the rugby pitch.
Oh, here we go. Yellow card. This is them trying to get after. Finn Russell, Robbo. Billy Vunipola just picked up a yellow for a high challenge on Finn. England have given away a lot of penalties in this first half. First 23 minutes.
He didn't really do anything though, did he? Like, I'll tell you what, right? I actually think rugby is going a little bit soft. I know it's all in the trend of safety, which is great for the players and for the sport itself. But like, he's just put his arm out there. It's like just gone a little bit around his neck. Boom! The referee has to give him a yellow card. It's just starting to become a little bit strange, you don't think? And it started in the World Cup.
Yeah, but
Scotland's line out has functioned very well so far, Robbo. England, we thought we're going to really put them under pressure there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's these things where they would have started. They would have seen Maro Tojo like huge at getting up in the air. Johnny Hill as well. He's a massive guy, easy to throw up in the line, and they'll be looking probably for that hinge between the prop and maybe the other back row who's going to jump, whether that's a Curry or probably a Mark Wilson, more likely. And then you're looking, Scotland, I'm sure, looking to pick him off or just take front foot ball. So a lot of teams will be either, every back will say, and every 9 and 10, we want to win middle to back ball. And every forward coach will say, we're a line-out winning side. We just win the ball. So what a lot of teams will do is just give you the front and say, okay, if you're good enough to play from that, we'll have the 2 people at the back of the line, our tail gunner, generally our 7, and someone else inside him. And they're just going to fly. They're going to fly and just put pressure on, because then all of a sudden that pass gets a little bit bigger. You're asking the 9 to play a little bit flatter, risk of interceptions. Maybe on their good hand, they're a lot quicker than the other hand, allows the defensive line to get up. So there's stuff like that taken into, and then as the game wears on, and then you kind of go, okay, we can't just keep giving it to them now. You've got to give them a different picture.
Scotland have now, I think, getting a 5 metre scrum. Seems to be a bit of chat going on. Just while we've got that, Robbo, why are we not seeing Simmons or Dombrandt at least in the shadow squad, do you think? That's from Vic.
Yeah, it's a question I'm not sure about myself, to be honest. I would love to see Dombrandt and Queensland and stuff could make him sound a great player as well. Just sometimes I think your face doesn't fit, or you don't quite fit what the coach would like. And I always think a coach has a jigsaw, and they're just trying to. You're just a piece, and at one particular moment, do you fit into his puzzle? And for whatever reason, they don't quite fit in at the moment. And I think generally, you can't argue too far away from the Curry, the Underhill, and the Billy Vunipola, because when those guys play well, I think as good as every other back row is in the country at the moment, I think those guys are the best combination. But yeah, look, I would love to see them in at least the shadow, at least maybe on the bench every now and then, just to get a run out and see what they're like.
I mean, both of them.
Yeah, I think so. And look, sometimes you just need a bit of time. I think they're both still quite young. I think Dombrandt maybe 23, 24, and I think Sam Simmons is probably similar. So I hope in due time, and I always think with these people, it doesn't matter who raves about them, what media, what coach, what blog. You only have to impress one person, and that's Eddie. And if he doesn't like you, and same with every other coach, if the main coach doesn't like you, you're not going to play. Doesn't like your style or whatever it is. It's tough. So, yeah, look, I hope they do get in there, and I'm sure they will at some point. But you just got to be patient. And as a player, for them, it can be frustrating when you're playing well, when you think you deserve that opportunity. You just got to keep your head down and keep on going, to be honest, because hopefully you will get in there.
Look at this, Viss.
Johnny
May at number 8. Visser, Johnny May at number 8.
What is going on here?
Why is that needed, Robbo? Why Billy V is in the?
Why would Johnny May go in a scrum?
Why have we got Johnny? Is that important? Is he going to add enough to make a significant difference there in place of Billy Vunipola?
If anyone wants to have a bit of a laugh, have you seen the Johnny May scrummaging?
Well, he's in at number 8 now. He's at number 8 now. Look at him go.
We played. I can't remember who we played. Yeah.
So that's gone from free kick to full penalty.
But he was trying to put his head up.
One of the most awkward things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Robbo, Scotland.
So watch him.
They got a free kick. Robbo, Scotland got a free kick.
Well.
They got a free kick. They've now been given a penalty at the scrum. So Scotland are 5 metres out. First one was a free kick. Now it's a penalty, and Scotland have gone scrum again. Again, seems to be having a tough time against Xander Fagerson.
Wow. Whereabouts?
5 metres from England's try line.
What marker?
Bang on the 15. First one was a free kick. Second one was a full penalty.
So they want to obviously make most of that sin binning. And I think I saw a question come up saying, why would you put Johnny May in there? As a forward pack, they always want to have eight in the scrum, because otherwise the one-man advantage could make such a big difference. And you could be marched back significantly, which again, for any forward or any prop, is a massive morale thing. And then that's in the ref's head all game. He's going to have those perceptions of you guys.
Especially there.
So even if... Well, exactly, especially on your own line. Maybe in their half, you might say, no, we want to cover our backfield because they're probably going to kick. But on your own line, yeah, you want to make sure.
Is that something you rehearse? Is that something you trained for?
Go on.
Yeah, you do rehearse it.
No, he's missed it. Oh, they've missed an opportunity there. They pulled it out of the scrum, and they've gone around the back to Finn Russell with a crossfield kick that Duhan van der Merwe was. He's kind of mistimed the bounce. Got to take that on the full. Oh, it's annoying.
So England have come out of that nicely. England have got away with that one.
Has it gone dead or has it gone into time?
Gone dead. So England have got 22. Duan gave it a bit of a Superman attempt to try and bring it down. Gregor over his feet, getting a bit excited.
I'm ahead of you two.
Always, Tim. Always ahead of us.
Just mentally.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Matt Ferguson's important today, isn't he? Try and settle himself in that number 8 situation. Go on, try. No. Yeah. Oh, it's so close.
Robo, Matt Ferguson for Scotland. The thing that people say about Matt Ferguson is he's not big enough at number 8. How big does he have to be?
Well, look at Vunipola. That big would be good. We send him to McDonald's twice a day, we'd probably make it.
Have we got a try? Has Duan got the try?
No.
Referee awarding it, or is he going upstairs? He's
so.
giving it. Well, I am now in serious trouble because I got a message from somebody today saying for their fantasy league team, should they take Jamie Ritchie or Duan van der Merwe? And I said, take Jamie Ritchie because Duan will never get the ball. So that just shows how little I know about this game. George Turner did not time this well, though, did he? George Turner left him a lot to do there, Vis. How frustrating is that for a winger?
When there is a 2-on-1 and there's so obviously space, but that last guy's a hooker, you might as well have a prop there. It makes no difference, really. And you almost just, because it's a 2-on-1, you almost just want him to give it early so you've got a chance to step back in. Because by the time he does make it a 2-on-1, he's too slow to actually close it off. But he's done a great job there. 4 tries, 6 matches. That's serious ratio.
That is really impressive, isn't it? Especially for Scotland, no disrespect, but being a winger for Scotland, Tim's not easy, is it?
No.
And then Finn
misses. It's probably slightly easier now because Finn Russell can put 50-meter passes or kicks in, but yeah, that's serious good effort.
But Finn misses the conversion, and is that a deciding factor when you know a Lions test could come down to 1 kick?
It's annoying. It's niggly, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly against South Africa in particular, where you're not going to get. You don't often score many against South Africa.
So, Robbo, I was asking about Matt Ferguson because I think Matt Ferguson's a quality player, but the thing that keeps getting stuck to him is that he's not big enough. What do you think he needs to do to become bigger or become more prominent, become more aggressive? What is it he can do? I
mean, perceptions are a massive thing, and everyone always assumes they want their 6 one size, they want their 7 one size, they want their 8 one side. And I think it depends on a lot about what the balance of the back row is and what the balance of the forward pack is. Do you have carriers in other aspects? Do you want to be a line-out forward? Do you want them to do X, Y, and Z? And I think that's hugely important to consider. Look, of course, we would all like our 8s, or from my point of view, someone like a Dwayne Vermeulen, I think he's the best 8 in world rugby. He's a big guy. He can carry hard. He's fit. He does line outs. He takes high balls. I mean, for me, he's the ultimate 8. But there's probably 1 or maybe 2 of them in the world. And that's why they are so special. And then it's playing for strengths, like we said, with a Sam Simmons or someone like that who's not the biggest, but for some reason, people don't think he's powerful because he doesn't look that big. But you see him against the likes of Toulouse who have huge packs, and he's knocking forwards back, he's making breaks in runs and all those things. So I think perceptions can be a big thing. And it's sometimes the media can change them. They can go with it or they can go against it.
Well, you got Hamish Watson, who's obviously physically not the biggest guy, but both of you have said that he should go on a Lions tour.
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll definitely go. I don't know if he'll start.
Test, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tom Curry will be. I'm not sure who would be 8. It'd be interesting to see if they take a Falatal or. But again, it all depends on how well it goes. A CJ Stander, do they move one of these type of guys to a 6 to get a bit more carrying against a big South African heavy pack where you need carriers, you need people to get you over the gain line time and time again. So there's a lot of this kind of to be played and played out. Or do you want guys who the set piece is so kind of instrumental against them as well? Do you want to go for a line out 6 or a line out 8? So then you might not go for someone like a Billy Vunipola because he's not a massive line out threat. So yeah, all these things you do have to weigh up.
Scotland looking good though, aren't they?
Well, while Tim's tucking into the moment, my bagel. We have in the hotel in America at the moment. We get a nice bag of goodies. I've got an orange. I've got a Philadelphia slice. The proper bagel.
Scotland, Tim, is this just teeing us up though to be very Scottish? We're dominating possession, playing reasonably well, had chances, but we're only 8-3 up.
Yeah, that's the issue, isn't it? Like, how much do you need to be ahead to be able to weather an English comeback in the second half?
And now we just put yourself under a whole load of pressure.
Comfortable right now, and Scotland are giving it all they've got. I don't know.
That's the thing, yeah. What is the lead? Because whether it stays like this or goes in at half time, they're gonna have a rev up. But we wanted to get a penalty or something now or more. I hope. What
would Eddie Jones say at half time here? Right.
I mean,
what would he say?
He doesn't always speak a lot, so he'll take away the leaders generally, and they'll have a kind of a quick chat about what's going on. Or, I mean, he's had times where he's kind of come in and goes, "You guys sort this out. You guys got yourself into this mess. Sort it out," kind of thing. But obviously, a lot more animated than that. And when England played Scotland in that 38 game or whatever it was, I think he just came in after the game and just said, "Look, I've seen it all now. Sort it out, and we'll come back again in." Because I think that was the last game. Was it the last game, or we'll deal with it? Whatever.
Yeah.
What we do. He said, "I've seen it all."
I remember. We're
gonna have a tough Monday.
Hospitality house in Twickenham beforehand. I did a Q&A for you guys in your hospitality house, and then afterwards I did an appearance for Guinness in central London in a pub full of English people, right? So I sat there by myself with a load of other, English fans, and it obviously started off with England absolutely pumping us, and I felt horrific. Everyone was going nuts. I was getting abuse shouted at me, and then Scotland starts scoring, and I figure out that there's one other Scot in the pub on the right, on the other side.
What's he looking at here? What's he gone to?
And he's right on the other side. And every time there's something happen, we've both gone, yeah! And then obviously the big comeback starts, and we're both going nuts, and all the English boys get real quiet. It was brilliant.
Robbo, were you playing at Murrayfield when Ryan Wilson started the ruck before, as you were all going down the tunnel?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was I wasn't in the tunnel, and then it was all kind of as we got in, it was all kicking off, and no one really knew what happened. But I think in typical Ryan Wilson style, I think he picked on the smallest guy on the pitch, didn't he? Or wasn't even on the pitch. I think he went after George Ford.
Was it George Ford he went for? I thought it was Farrell he went for.
No, he went for Ford, and then Farrell kind of protected Ford, I think. Yeah. But I mean, fair play to them. They did a complete job on us that day, and yeah, it was tough.
So it looks like we're going TMO here, but I'm not really sure what it's for.
Yeah, the second half maybe. No, the second phase. Not this. The foot. The foot. Finn also put his foot out. Uh-oh. That's not allowed.
Has he been tipping there? Yeah.
Talk me through the Scottish kit with that gold bit between the legs. Who designed that?
It's a shame that. I don't know, probably Macron. And actually,
that is a
Macron
shocker.
kit's been really good over the last couple of years.
It's really good. It's just that gold bit between the legs. You have to wonder what the thinking was.
No, it's a wee bit awkward. Okay. I'm Irish now.
Where do we stand on tattoos? Have either of you got tattoos?
No, we're not. The tattoo, we don't have any. Do you, Biss? No.
No, I didn't think so. I thought you two were quite clean.
We're clean cut.
Yeah, I figured that.
Cut.
You got Rory Sutherland's got a heap of them.
Hey?
Finn Russell yellow card.
Scheiße. And here he comes again, Captain Reliable. Another 3 points.
So this is going to make halftime. The chat's probably a bit different now.
Yeah.
Scotland got to play for a while with 14.
Good. Come on. Here he is. Umbro
This
hat
is
on.
now against him, isn't it? 3 pounds on the bounce, 6 points, back down in your own half.
Yeah. Suddenly
Gents, help me out with this. You two are both rock stars. Why has Owen Farrell got all black boots on? Why is he not showing any brand there?
Because he's with you Andy company, and I don't think they did. I think Knock is still in them boots. They can't be branded.
I mean, I always felt quite weird in black boots. Didn't feel right. Come on.
You know, Tim, I only ever played in black boots. You know, I don't think I've ever played in a brightly coloured boot.
Yeah, no doubt. Number 46 on GQ best dress list doesn't wear black boots, mate.
England got a chance to launch another attack here.
Yeah. Line out on the 22. Jamie George, the melted wheelie bin.
Henry Slade's a quality player. He is, that left foot gives such another fantastic option. Look at that.
About to kick us out, aren't they? Yeah. Half time.
Well,
I think Slade, he's a silky player. He's just smooth with it. He's skillful.
Yeah.
He just makes things look easy.
Which sometimes makes him look unimpressive, but he is very, very smooth.
Quality player. Absolutely superb player. Gentlemen, half time.
Can I stock up on beer or not?
Half time. Yeah. We're gonna hear from our sponsors. We're gonna hear from Glen Turret, and then we'll be back. And that gives us time to go away and see a man about a dog. So here is a message from Glen Turret, and hopefully we get all the way through it this time.
Here, at Scotland's oldest working distillery, everything we do is underpinned by the 3 touchstones of the Glen Turret Trinity: provenance, prowess, and passion. Our extraordinary provenance is founded upon the long history of this special place, the remarkable endeavours of past generations of owners and distillers, and the unique character of the new make spirit that continues to define the Glen Turret today. Our traditional prowess is built upon the skill and expertise that goes into handcrafted whisky making. An unusually slow distillation process, and a resolute commitment to small batch production. Finally, our enduring passion reflects our continuing fascination with the tradition of distilling. Our delight in every step of the whisky-making journey, and our deep desire to bring whisky lovers moments to treasure, in spirit and glass. The Glen Turret. By hand and heart since 1763.
Glen Turret, and luckily we've lost Visser. So, Robbo, you've landed in America. What happens now? How long are you shacked up in the Holiday Inn?
We're in here for, well, until we go there, because we're actually moving to Las Vegas. So literally, kind of, it's been quite a whirlwind.
How did that phone call go? Listen, Robbo, you know how you signed for the San Diego Legion? We're actually moving to Vegas. How did that go?
Well, so we, so because of COVID and Christmas and all that, everything going on in America, the visas took a little bit of time, unfortunately. So then, yeah, pretty much 2 days before I was supposed to get on the plane, Darren, the owner, phones you up and says, look, COVID's pretty bad in America and pretty bad in California at the moment, so we're going to move. And I was like, okay, thinking you're moving kind of, I don't know, half an hour down the road, an hour down the road. And he's like, oh, we're moving to Vegas. I was like, what do you mean moving to Vegas? Because American teams do that. They just pick everything up and go. It's quite strange. So, yeah, we're here for probably another 2 or 3 weeks. And then, yeah, we're all moving to a hotel in Vegas. So it feels a little bit like being on tour at the moment, because there's everyone's staying in the same hotel, all this type of stuff. It is a bit peculiar. And me and the wife were like, what do we kind of make of this? And I think when you look back in 10 years' time or something like that, it'll be an experience to live in Vegas, I think.
Yeah, I would think so. Did you have a chat to the English guys who are across playing in the Major League before you made your decision? Did you speak to Ben Foden and guys like that?
Yeah, so I spoke to Ben Foden quite a bit, Alex Corbacero as well, who actually lives not too far. I think he actually lives in San Diego, but commutes to New York kind of every other week normally for his NBC work. So yeah, speaking a bit about that, and just, look, I think, like Tim knows, when you get a bit older, the body and the mind probably want something else. And for me, it was having a different challenge. I've always been kind of in Southwest London, Surrey, all that kind of area. So for me, it was, living somewhere completely different. And I've always loved the ocean. I'm 34 now. They play 16 games rather than 30 plus, what we do in the UK. So yeah, it was just a good experience for me, and almost kind of plan that next chapter of my life as well, because you're only over here for about 6-7 months, and then you're back in the UK or wherever else you want to be for the rest.
It's surely only going to be a matter of time before you are in Hollywood movies, Robbo.
Terminator 5.
Is it Frozen or is it?
So, Vis, one of the questions that's here is, who takes the lead at halftime? The coach, the captain, or the players? And that's from Alan.
Mostly the coach. I think first of all they'll split you up, and they'll have a quick chat with the leaders, as Robbo was just saying there, making sure that all the vital communications go to the decision makers. And then it's normally forwards on one end, backs on the other end. The various backs and forwards coaches will have their input, show you some quick video material if they've got it. And then, normally everyone sits down quickly. They'll get everyone tuned into the same coach. And normally it's the head coach, and he'll have, a quick chat. But there's not that much that you can get in at half time. It's normally, like Robbo was saying, 1, 2, max 3 things that you can take onto a rugby pitch when you're at that point. So there's normally not a whole lot of chat, but then the conditioners will come back in and they'll be like, right, everyone get up, get moving around, make sure that we don't seize up, don't get cold. And then, the time goes so quick. By the time you've had a quick bite to eat and a drink, and you're back on the pitch before you know it.
And is the chat at half time, Robbo, will they be talking about what to do with Finn Russell off the field?
Yeah, they'll be trying to explore that. I'll just go back to Tim's point there. England change room, they'll actually have TV screens and laptops so that if the coach is making a point, they can actually show them. So a lot of forwards, especially the kind of the scrum on the ball, they can actually show them what the opposition are doing or what you're doing or where space is. Because a lot of players are visual learners, and we like to see stuff rather than just be told. So then you can go on the pitch and kind of put it into place. And as a player, you will see different things, from coaches in the stand to one player as a forward in the middle to Tim out wide, because Tim will know if there's space in front of him, so then he can pass that message into the 9s and 10s. But yeah, like Tim said, everyone's kind of sharing messages.
And a lot of that happens on the pitch already. Every time there's a break, you'll see backs going towards each other. You'll see wingers complaining that they don't get the ball or whatever else. But it's... there is normally not a whole lot to get through at halftime, and I think you just want to, as a coach, and maybe even if a captain speaks or a 10, it's little bits, like little points, like, right, we need to do this better, we need to do that, or focus on the easy things, that kind of thing. And it's normally coach led, but once they depart towards the end, and then some of the players will have a quick shout. There's some players like to be more vocal than others. I used to play with James Horwell, who just liked to shout angry things. And then, there's players like Greg Laidlaw, who used to just, be like, oh, listen, let's all just focus on our own job, do the easy things well, that kind of thing. So it just depends on who you're around with as well.
Nice. Let's have a look at some of the pictures of people that are enjoying this with us, and I really hope they are. Let's have a look and see about some of these, some of the people enjoying their boxes and sharing with. Oh yes, look at that.
Oh, that's
some big Scottish fans there. Oh, is that a Chris Robshaw shirt on the wall? Is that?
No, that was before my time, unfortunately.
that was it for Scott. Oh, father and son do battle.
Oh,
brilliant.
I was listening to Eddie Jones, and he was talking about that when you're in Australia and you look at this competition, you don't really see it as a big deal. Then you get here, but you can have a household that is pretty split, pretty confident. I know who they're supporting. Look at that.
Brilliant.
All Scotland. I think have they chosen the Owen Farrell in particular?
They've got the wrong people,
Nice. Scotland to a T. Cheers. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Oh, look at those. I should have a glass, really. Oof.
Oh, that is a setup. Look at that. Timed beautifully. The bottle on the table too. Look at that. Look at that setup. How does that go? 2 TVs.
Double TV. I'm just looking at this guy here. He's got one with his missus as well.
What is that?
TV.
It's on my phone. I'm watching it on, so I wouldn't mind if you could.
That is a quality setup. I'm loving that.
Great to see left hand drinking from Tim Visser.
that is ridiculous. 3 screens. So I hope we're on one of them. That's quite a cool setup. Look at the speakers on the table as well. Loving that.
So what game? Rugby Bash.
Key.
What's the other one?
There's a bit of dip there for the chips as well. Look, the boys have got them in the bowl, but Dad's kept the bag. I love that.
Share them around nicely.
Quite right. I'm still not sure if my chewing is coming up on the microphone, so I'm having to do it quietly. Right, gentlemen, if you had to pick a man of the match for the first half, who would it be? Robbo, we'll come to you first. If man of the match was decided now, who would you give it to?
Oh wow.
It's really tough.
Yeah. You know what? I always think with doing stuff like this is it's almost like the commentators.
Yeah.
Because you say something and they go out and drop the first ball.
So Viss and I are saying, give it to Owen Farrell.
I probably won't be saying Billy Vunipola or Finn after there, and I think with them you see how costly sin binnings are.
Yeah.
And you talk about penalties and all that kind of stuff, and you see both sides conceding. Well, I think England conceded 6 points, or no, 5 points. And then,
5 for a try. Yeah.
And then 6 for Finn Russell's one as well. So yeah.
So, folks at home, if you can make sure that you get your name of your player of the match and make sure you have your name on it as well, if you text it to that number that is on the screen now, so that we can get rid of that, take a picture of it so you've got it down. We'll put it towards the end of the game as well, and you have to match up with the pundits on ITV. So who have they been raving about? Who are they getting excited about? Who do you think they're going to give it to? Text or WhatsApp your name and the name of the player to that number there, 07590308623, and then a winner will be selected and you will win a prize, and all will be revealed. But trust me, it's going to be worth it. When we get into the game, Finn Russell is not going to be back out on the pitch. Viss, what happens? Does everybody just move in one? Does Cam Redpath come into first receiver, or will Hoggy step up?
Well, sometimes they use one of the wingers as a scrum half and push the scrum half across. But with Cam Redpath at 12, they'll probably just move him in and insert Hoggy into the line further down to make up for it. In attack, it doesn't tend to make that much difference because once you're going, you're going. But it's more in defense how you plug the gap. And you know, we had an issue like that 4 years ago now. We went down to 4 years ago, when we went down to Twickenham and Fraser Brown got carded, which meant that everyone moved in on our line out defence. We hadn't got the message on the outside and they're just streaming through the middle. So I think in defence, it becomes a whole lot more difficult once your 10's out, because he's been practicing there in defence. They might have certain defensive patterns and suddenly he's not standing there. And, you know, the 12 might know what the 10 was doing. So he'll start doing his job, but the 13 might not know what the 12 was doing, and so on and so on. So I think the biggest issues we'll probably have is defensively. So we do need him back sooner rather than later. But saying that, he is also the biggest attacking cog of the Scotland setup. So yeah, you do want him. It seems to be still confident, so he'll come back on. You need him back on as soon as possible, really.
Well, I think one of the coaches do as well is they'll practice those type of scenarios. So they'll put Cameron Redpath like into setup under pressure this week and being like, okay, Finn Russell, you're off, or you can't talk for the next 5 minutes of training. So then he has to organise, or the 9 and the 12 and the 13 have to completely step up and do everything. Or, Finn, you go to the side for 5 minutes, you do some fitness, you're going to kind of run the shape and adapt and do things like this. And the forwards would do similar. Okay, the hooker's been simming now, but we haven't had a scrum, so we don't want to bring another hooker on yet, or we don't want to bring a prop on or something like this. So how are we going to adapt? So it's Sean Fitzpatrick used to have a massive saying, and be a student of the game, understand. And look, I don't mean go out there and learn every player's roles, but as a back row, you should probably learn 6, 7, and 8 and know what they're doing. As a back three, you should probably know roughly what they all do. Like we said earlier, Johnny May probably doesn't have to know what a flanker does in terms of scrummaging, but obviously now he does. Now he's evolved that skill and he is a serious scrummager. If you got another screen, look it up. Johnny May and Curtly Bill scrummaging. It's if you want a good laugh, it's fantastic.
Robbo, if a lock goes down, is there a bit of a rumble in the back row about who has to go up?
Surely.
You wouldn't have enjoyed being in the scrum in the second row, Robbo. So if a lock gets carded, is there a bit of a battle in the back row about who moves up?
Yeah, typically it'll be the it's generally the biggest one, or depending on positional, if it's air ball or our ball. I remember with Quins, we had a second row sin mid once, and we sent the youngest back row in there. I think I was playing. I can't remember who I was playing. It was me. Who was it? I remember we sent Jack Clifford in there. It was me, Cliff.
Some big Jack in there. He'll love it.
We were like, "You're the youngest, didn't you go?" I don't think that's more the mentality of what happens. But yeah, as a back rower, they're always trying to push you forward, get another year out of your contract or something like that. So yeah, we've all done it. It's not a great place to be. But the end when they really are.
Painful.
I think that I would do better on the wing than Tim would do as a flanker. Do you reckon?
I used to play flanker. I've been in second row as well. I've been in that position.
Yeah,
it's horrific.
I wonder what the decision was, Tim, to get you out of there and go and stand on the wing. What made that decision? Oh, too pretty.
Yeah, you're too pretty. We don't want to ruin your face. No, I think it was at Newcastle. Definitely wasn't that. I was at Newcastle, and I'd gone all through school as a flanker, and then first season at Newcastle there was 2 or 3 injuries in the back three, and they literally just looked around the room like, right, who's the quickest forward? And that was me. So that's literally the story of it. That's how I made it out of the forwards, which the saving grace.
You're sure it was nothing to do with never being in a ruck, never making a tackle, and not liking the push?
I was actually, believe it or not, I was actually quite a good tackler as a forward. No, I know. It's really weird, but you know what it is? And this is not an excuse, because there's a lot of very good defensive wingers, but defending as a forward in the close quarters isn't half as hard as when you're on the wing and you've got the best attackers on the field running at you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a scary place as a forward when you get out there, and with England actually,
which makes it even more special when you have good defensive wingers, because there's not a lot of wingers that are really good at defense, but the ones that are, that's really, really special, because you are always defending the best attackers on the pitch.
Yeah, with
by no means was I good at it.
We were trained, so the forwards would have to do this thing called contact conditioning under the post. So you'd basically tire yourself out, you'd wrestle, you'd ruck, you would do all this stuff, and then you'd have all the backs on the halfway line, and then they would just be fresh. They would be stood there waiting, and then someone under the post would kick them the ball, and they would have the whole pitch, all the backs, so whatever it is, 7 back, to play against the 8 forwards on the whole width of the pitch. So you're basically playing 7, but as forwards you were tired. And you would see the back's eyes light up and just think, okay, who are we going to pick off? What kind of survival? And they would do it for about a minute, and you were hanging. And if you were forward and got hold of one of the backs, you would just not let go. They'd be kicking off and all sorts, trying to get the ball back, because it was just kind of shoulders on. But as a forward, you're like, it's not coming back here. And you'd be, if the ball went on the floor, you'd boot it miles away. But yeah, it was exhausting trying to defend them, because you honestly, it is such a scary place when people of Tim's speed and footwork and their passing ability, and it is tough.
I mean, as a winger, if you saw forwards out on the wing, and some back row forwards are really quick, but you can just turn them inside out. And I think, having played on the wing all of my career, even when there were certain centres out on the wing, you knew you were going to have a field day, because you could just make them look silly.
I mean, your eyes must light up, Tim, in like kick chases when someone kicks you a loose ball. There's kind of disjointed kind of thing. Who are you looking for? Are you looking for the big props? Are you looking for the smaller wingers?
It's just literally, it's just a joint. If you can see a space, I mean, what you really want is turned bodies, because when someone's shoulders are turned sideways, defending becomes really, really difficult. So all I used to look was turned shoulders. So if you're looking at a player, especially second rows, if they are turned to one way because they're chasing you, you can come back. And if there's not much inside defense there, it's not even so much about speed, because bearing in mind, when you're as a winger, you're running towards the sideline away from someone, that guy's always got the shortest route. So it's not even so much about speed. It's just about turned bodies, because you know once that guy starts running sideways, he'll never be able to defend the inside again, and you can just make him look so silly. And yeah, you just look for joints. You look for players not joining up together. You guys always as forwards talk about defending in 2s and 3s, but as soon as that stops happening, when people are tired or there's a bad kick, as a winger, you know you're gonna have a great time.
Here's a question. Here's a question for you, and this I want you to leave something to the imagination of the people watching.
Right.
So all you're allowed to give me is a name, and you're not allowed to give an explanation. We just unless somebody messages to say, okay, explain that one. But here's what I'd like to know: if you were to have a charity boxing match with a former opponent, who would you love to have a go at?
With a former opponent.
Yeah, so one opponent that you would like to have a boxing match with.
Well, because I think I'd win. I need to get. I might go for a scrum half.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would choose scrum halves as opponents, wouldn't they?
I'm not going for one of the Tuolangi family, that's for sure.
I would love to have a go at that JP Peterson guy.
I'll go for you, Visser, I reckon.
JP Peterson. You'd go for Tim Visser.
Tim Visser. I think it'd be an easy. He'll go down in the first, I reckon.
After I tell you what, if I get the first couple of punches in, you'll have a long day. But if I catch the first one, it's game over. I've got a glass jaw.
You can see you used to call me glass jaw man. Just trying to keep it.
Robbo, so you said 6 or 7 months, is that right, in America?
Yeah, I'm here till August time.
Right, so somebody's messaged in to ask if there were other deals on the table, but what I really want to know is if you're coming back then, that is beautifully timed for Strictly.
Yes. Is that your big brother?
I mean, Tim is on the dance floor, and I think he knows that I'm not the best answer.
I think that I reckon that you and your wife should both be on Strictly. I think you should compete against each other.
Is Camilla a good dancer or not?
We're too competitive. She's better than me. I don't know if that makes her. She's a good dancer. She's musical. She's quite a good dancer. But when you see them, I was watching it this year, bits of it, just thinking, I'm so glad I'm not on this or going anywhere near it, just because I think I'd be the token person out first week. No
chance, Robbo. You would have people going absolutely wild. Imagine you giving it that one with the shirt unbuttoned. The crowd would go wild for you.
Now hold on, I've seen Robbo dance. He dances more with his hands than with anything else. It's all in the hands for Robbo.
Bar dance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if the world gets back to normal, Robbo, would you go in the jungle? Would you do Celebrity Get Me Out of Here?
Oh, no, I honestly think with a lot of those shows, never say never. Never write things off, and it just depends what's going on. And I think probably more than anything else, everyone's got their price, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. It'd be silly not to.
And I enjoy them. I mean, you look at them, and a lot of them look like good fun. And I think that's the important thing to remember. It's now trying to enjoy this chapter of my life and enjoy it. I think throughout when I was playing for England, the Captain Quinns and all that kind of stuff, everything's very stressful, and it feels like it's kind of taken over you and all that kind of stuff. And you're going from game to game, and you don't feel like you really get much of a break. And yeah, you have nights out here and there, and you get away from it. But there's a lot of pressure there, Tim, isn't there? And it feels quite overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I finished when I finished. I kind of felt like I wasn't really contributing that much to the team anymore. And in return, I didn't really fancy the stress anymore. Would you have fancied
to go in America, Vis?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I mean 100%. But I think Chris is in a very different situation from me, in that at the time when I retired, I had 2 kids, and I didn't want to move the whole family somewhere else again, start schools, all that kind of stuff. I think Chris is in such a fortunate position in that he doesn't have kids yet. Him and his wife can just set up sticks, and Amazing, yeah. If I was in Robbo's situation, I would have 100% gone to Vegas. Yes, I think most of us would have actually.
And I think I saw the question that was America the option, and I think for me it was one of the ones I only really wanted to explore. Like Tim said, I don't have kids, so I didn't have to kind of worry about schools and all that kind of stuff, and uplifting people for kind of 6-7 months, which is hard if you have a family. But also I'm very dyslexic. And as a kid, I struggled massively with languages and even English sometimes. So I think for me to have gone to France or Japan, again, where it's more physical league, and I think to fully enjoy something, to be able to speak the language properly. Like if you're going for coffees or anything, and all the guys are chatting language, and you want to fully enjoy it, you feel a bit of an odd one out. And I know people say you do get it eventually, but it does take a significant time, I think. And for me, I wanted to go straight into it. Like, I'm 34 now. We're going to play half the amount of games I would play in Europe, which was a big factor. And it's just about having fun, to be honest.
Rob Carney's headed to Western Force, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah. Perth.
That must be enjoyable. There's a bit of sunshine and the beach and fewer games.
No COVID.
And no COVID.
Yeah.
They
had one COVID case there, and they locked everything down for.
Yeah, no, I saw that. His cousin's Joe Biden. The new president of America is a distant cousin because he's from the same bit of Ireland as Rob Carney. Rob Carney, when Joe Biden got voted in, Rob Carney was tweeting, "Yeah, congratulations, cuz, all the best," and all that kind of stuff. And when Ireland were in America, Joe Biden was there. There's lots of pictures of him getting presented with an all black shirt. But yeah, he's related to Rob Carney.
That's brilliant. Well, if I ever get in trouble there, I know who to call. I go, Rob, I know you don't remember me, but can you sort me out, please?
I'm pretty confident you would get in trouble in most places you went to, Tim.
I've got in trouble in many places I've been to.
Yeah, I would bet. George Turner's done well, hasn't he? Considering
George Turner is a funny one because
third choice.
He's been around for so long, and I don't know if you've heard the story, but his nickname's George Hugh. Have you ever heard the story or not? So he was an academy player at Edinburgh, and we had a telephone in the physio room, and so that the physios could communicate straight with the coaches upstairs, I believe. And the head coach, Michael Bradley at the time, who'd been there for about a year and a half, called down, and George picked up the phone and he's like, who's this? I'll try an Irish accent. He's like, who's this? And he's like, oh, hi, it's George. Hi, Michael, it's George. And he just went, George who? And he went, George Turner from the academy. And apparently he just went, no. Can you pass me the physio, please? And just passed on. And stupidly, George told this story. And ever since, I think on Facebook, I think he's still called George Hugh.
Yeah,
George
I think he is actually.
Yeah. Brilliant story. But he's been around for, so long, and he's such an incredibly physical player. I think, the issue he's had, and, he's had many issues, but the issue he's had is that there's been some real good candidates in front of him for years, the likes of Ross Ford, and then Rambo transferring to hooker from the back row hasn't helped. Fraser Brown obviously being standout as well. But actually, he's a really good player. He just lacks that top end experience, and this is obviously the moment for him to try and get some of that with some of the injuries that we have in Scotland.
I was chatting to Fraser Brown on Thursday, and he was saying the injury that he's had, his most recent injury, the doctor had said to him that's usually the type of injury you get from car crash victims.
He's had a bad neck for ages, but the battle that goes in that front row is not good for you. Robbo, can you just explain to our audience what the hell you're drinking? Can Robbo not hear us?
Robbo's placing bets, I think. See, there's Finn missed another one. So there's
I'm
an
drinking
easy
some
3.
of this green goodness, and Robbo is drinking
Yeah, I've got like I said, it's my morning, so I've got a NutriBullet about to start pre-season, Tim, unlike you.
Oh, when
So
do you start training?
We start on, I think, the 16th. So yeah, we've got a week or so.
When are you out of quarantine?
We're just doing our own thing. So Wednesday, and then you have to have 2 weeks before you go into the club.
Okay, and do you have?
Because again, it's quite strict over here, so everyone's doing their own thing.
a
But there's no
house
food
sorted
here.
out and you know where you're
There's no food
going
in our hotel, so we're on like the microwaves and.
Do you know where
you
you're
will
going?
go
Have
out.
you got a house sorted out? Bruce, can you tell Rob what I'd asked him?
Rob, are you still listening, or are you bored of listening to Tim?
Sorry, you cut out. Yeah.
I reckon Robbo's trying to multitask. Robbo, I've got a question for you, and it's come in. I'm not sure who it's from, but talking about Hamish Watson, do you think he'd be considered a better player, or would he be more of a household name if he were playing in a higher profile league? So he's just signed a contract extension with Edinburgh. Do you think it would have done him some good to go and play in England or France?
If Robbo's gone, I'll answer that.
I mean, I think he's done well at Edinburgh. I think Cockerell coming in there made them. I know they probably had a little dip recently, haven't they? Tim would know probably more about the Edinburgh rugby, but they were going pretty well last season. I think maybe a universal name from an English point of view, but it depends. He's probably a proud Scot. He wants to play up there. He wants to play in his home city or wherever. And I think if they're competing in Europe and stuff like that, which is always going to be a big ask for Scottish teams because they probably don't have the resources of a lot of the other kind of European sides. But he's young, isn't he? Maybe he'll fancy a change in a couple of years. But he is a fantastic player.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just adding to that, there is no better place for a Scottish player to want to play for Scotland than being in Scotland. You get so well looked after. You know, they don't overplay you. The SRU is in control of the club, so there's never any conflict there. You know, it's very similar to, I mean, it's probably better than what the English players enjoy in the Premiership because of the central contracts. But you know, the SRU owns the club, so it's just so much easier for them to exert control over the players that they want to be protected. And you know, when I was with Edinburgh, I could only play, I think, 4 games in a row, and then I would have to have a mandatory game off. You knew you had the week off, or the 2 weeks off leading into international periods, and that became really quite taxing when it came down to Queen's, because I would be playing non-stop with Queen's in all the various competitions that we played in. Then I would go to Scotland, and it was then up to Quins whether they would give me time off or not. There'd be periods where, you know, the Quins didn't want to release me for training, so I couldn't train with Scotland. You know, it's the best place to be for a Scottish player when you want to play for Scotland is in Scotland. And you know, Stuart Hogg will probably be feeling that right now, going up and down from Exeter and fulfilling all of his duties. It's not easy for an exile having to travel back and forth, and that only becomes worse. Come on, Scotland. That only becomes worse when you stop playing frequently, because you go up for training on a Sunday, train Monday, Tuesday, and if you manage to get the last flight back, you'll be back with your club on Wednesday, play a game Friday night, no idea if you're going back to Scotland on a Sunday or not. You know, Six Nations suddenly become not only physically but also emotionally taxing. And you know, when you have kids, towards my last year with Scotland, you know, Laura would be like, right, can you pick the kids up from nursery because I'm working? And I would have no idea whether I was up with Scotland or whether I was going to be down with Quinn. So, you know, even sometimes 2 days before. And I remember the last bit for me was, and I was already not getting selected at this point, so it was a fairly easy decision for me. But I came back from a week off in Holland, so I'd driven through the Eurotunnel to Holland, and on the way back, which was Saturday night, we were driving back, and I didn't know whether I had to go up to Scotland on the Sunday night or not. And it turned out that I didn't have to go up, and I called Gregor that Sunday night, and I was like, listen, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to work anymore. You know, I think this is the end of the line for me. It's been amazing, but I feel this is kind of the natural end. And he kind of half tried to convince me not to put a line under it, but it just kind of felt right. And that's tricky, you know, for exiles to be in and out of the Premiership and go up to Scotland. And it's not any easier right now with COVID, I can imagine.
Hoggy, Johnny Gray and Sam Hidalgo-Klein are pinching themselves. Premiership and European.
Well, they had those kind of Scottish boys. Oh, sorry, the Exeter boys, I think so. Henry Slade and I say Johnny Hill. Johnny Hill won his first cap, I think. So last season they won the Premiership, they won Europe, they won the Six Nations, they won an Autumn Cup. All of a sudden, and I think Henry Slade became a dad as well for the first time. All of a sudden, you're thinking, what a, I don't know, crazy 2-month period that had been for him.
Emotionally taxing. But if you're winning everything, then it's also super.
It'd be interesting as well. Well, exactly. If Exeter make Hogg go back and play for Exeter and Gray in the international fallow weeks, because obviously if you were playing in Scotland or if England players play in England, you get looked after, you get rested.
Yeah.
But England won't have Scotland won't have the contract with the English club.
No.
Racing have said that Finn doesn't have to go back, so Finn's here, but I'm not sure what the story is with the Exeter boys or the Exiles boys in England.
That Racing Stadium is phenomenal, isn't it? To go play there, and that's one stadium I always wish I would play it again. If people haven't seen it, have a look online. It is phenomenal.
What stadium has the most formidable atmosphere, gents? Stephen Laurie's asking, with a crowd, Twickenham is incredible, but which stadium have you played at that has the most formidable atmosphere?
For me, the Stade de France was amazing. I mean, outside of Murrayfield, obviously, the Stade de France is just enormous. It's so big with that track around it as well. You got the drum bands and whatever else. They're just so vocal. You know, during games there, it just became so hard to hear your fellow players. It was imposing.
Yeah, the Stade is brilliant. I always enjoyed Ellis Park. When you go there, you look at the history of the whole place, and of course, apartheid, Nelson Mandela, all that kind of stuff. '95 World Cup, and when you go there, all the South Africans wear something South African. They're all in green. And hearing the anthem there was phenomenal. Cardiff, going to Cardiff's always fun being an Englishman.
I've never played Cardiff. I never played. I was always injured for the away fixture somehow. Go on. Oh.
Whoa, England's scrums got better. Newlands in South Africa is now finished because they've moved to the football stadium that they built for the World Cup.
You need to put your microphone down, Bruce.
Oh, there we go. Newlands in South Africa.
Yeah.
They've now moved into one of the football stadiums.
Yeah, I've played there. I played against Samoa there. I think I played against Samoa and against Italy there in a quadrangular summer tournament one year. But yeah, great place.
What do you miss about the game now you've retired? Do you miss the tours, or is it international?
I miss the players. Miss the changing room, being around. You don't understand how brilliant it is being around the lads all day long. You know, I had various teams I was with during Edinburgh, which were great, but during the first couple of years when I was at Queen's, we just had this group of players who just literally all loved each other, and it was just absolutely epic. You know, we did holidays together, we played and trained all day long, and it was just, it just didn't even feel anywhere near a job. It was just brilliant. But I think when you go to normal jobs, and I've been lucky enough not to have to go into an office job or something like that, but just that the lack of camaraderie and the in your face, straight as it is chat is something that I really miss. And I get bits of it because I keep in touch with the guys, but also I'm in property development now, and I've got a set of contractors that I work with who are all young guys who are, you know, brilliant crack. But it's not the same. Rugby players are a real breed apart, and whether that's, and actually, you know what? Whether that's international players or your local club team players, the crack is exactly the same. It's phenomenal. And I think, you know, that's something that I miss. And I've always said that I'll never go back into rugby. I'm not going to play amateur or anything like that. But I wouldn't mind being part of a change room somewhere, even if I could just be kit man or something like that, just for the banter and the nights out, because it is something that you really miss.
I'm pretty sure there'd be a few clubs in Edinburgh would be delighted to have you.
Yeah, I've been offered Aki's third team a couple of times, but luckily not gone onto that.
Scotland have emptied their props onto the bench from the bench to try and shore up that scrum because they just got absolutely killed in the last scrum.
60 minutes, about right, isn't it?
Here's a question. How important could this be for Scottish rugby if they win at Twickenham today? I think that's one for you, Vis.
Oh, I mean, brilliant confidence beater, obviously, but I think for a tournament like this, and I actually don't know, do Scotland have 2 or 3 away games this year? 2. So actually, you know, an away win is a massive one in the Six Nations because it skews the points so much. But to beat a team like Ireland and then, you know, next week having to go into Wales, that gives you some. Sorry, to beat a team like England and having to go next week into Wales, you know, brings the confidence together, brings the team together. So it's massive in that, but it's more in regards to the points. And away win counts for so much during the Six Nations.
One of the things that Gatlin has said about Scotland players is that they don't know how to win away. So kind of why would you take them on tour? Yeah. Robbo, do you think that's important? What do you think Gatlin's view is of Scotland players? What do you reckon, Biss? What does Gatlin think of Scotland players? Tim, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it all depends. Where's the Lions tour going to be this year? I have no idea. But saying that, you know, it's obviously there is no home for the Lions. So there's always going to be a factor of having players that are seasoned well in winning anywhere, I guess. And, you know, whether that's a true statement from Gatlin saying that Scotland players aren't used to winning away. I wouldn't say necessarily Scotland players are used to winning anywhere consistently. So I don't know if that's a valid argument, but you know, I think for the Lions cause, you know, that's certainly a big one because it's well documented that it's easier winning at home than it is away. But you know, what is home for the Lions? Where is it going to be this year? Is it going to be in South Africa?
Yeah, who knows? I hope so.
The other day with on a Zoom with Brian O'Driscoll, and he made a valid point about how the importance of, obviously everything COVID related is pretty bad at the moment, and of course people's health is the most important thing, that we don't want to jeopardize that or put people at risk. But he said the risk of also to the Lions as well, if you don't do a tour or don't do any sort of games for an invitational team, and as a team that's a one-off, to suddenly lose out on a cycle, it almost gets forgotten about. And does that almost, then it's 8 years, and then is it going to happen? Is it going to be as important in kind of 8 years' time? And does it kind of lose a bit of that special, that bit of magic that the Lions has? Which I hadn't heard that way of looking at it before. Look, it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't have thought it'd be going to South Africa with everything going on there at the moment. I think the most realistic thing is probably doing something here, or sorry, not in America, or maybe America is a good option. Maybe I'll get to put that forward for you. Something in the UK, maybe, yeah, going around all the kind of the home nations and the Ireland as well. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, speaking to Jason Leonard pre-leaving, who's the president of it, was just, I think his head was just spinning. It was just phone calls. He had plates in the air. He was just trying to get something going.
Because, don't forget,
the host nations can't afford not to have it, though. It makes too much money for Aussie, South Africa, the All Blacks. It's, there's money talks, doesn't it? They're going to have to try and keep something going.
Yeah. Well, exactly. There's all the tourism that comes with it, and but the fans make the Lions, don't they? That really makes it there. And people talk about, yes, they've been to World Cups, but they say there's nothing, as a player as well, quite what a Lions series creates.
Yeah. Oh, it's steroids, isn't it? It's like a national tour on steroids, apparently.
Would you go on tour as the host of a tour party, Robbo?
Would I go on tour, sorry, as a host? What do you mean, sorry?
So would you follow the Lions and lead 30 people on their tour of following the Lions?
Are you offering me a gig?
Can I come? Where are we going?
It's after August time. I've got time, but I think I'm going to be over here. So, like I said, if it's a trip to America, and maybe they should play in Vegas.
That would be quite
a whirlwind, wouldn't it?
Game in Vegas.
That would be spectacular.
Neutral territory.
I'd be game for that.
God, that'd be quite an August, no.
Dave Cherry's on for his first cap, Vis.
Yeah, I saw that. See, this is what you get when you got two injuries in the same spot in Scotland. Before you know it, you've got like unknown territory with this guy. And I'm not saying he's not good. He's just put a fantastic shot in. But you get players that are completely untested on the national stage. So it's just, you just don't know what to expect. It can either be really good or really bad. Ali Price.
Well, that's England as well.
Hey?
That's a massive strength of England. That like I said, they're missing a couple of key people, but bringing other experienced people straight away, and the depth and the talent pool they have to choose from. They're very privileged. And the amount of teams, you forget Scotland have only got two professional sides to pick up. I know they do pick up a couple elsewhere, but generally you're going well at the moment. I don't know if you need that yet, Tim.
Really going well, yeah. Thanks to our fantastic sponsor, Glen Turret. So I shall now be moving on to whiskey.
Jamie Ritchie.
And actually, Scotland's winning, so this is a happy drink.
Robbo, Jamie Ritchie's had to go off, and Richie Gray's come on. So we've now got Scott Cummings, Johnny Gray, and Richie Gray all on the field. Which might be good for the line out.
But maybe not good at the breakdown.
Yeah, Hamish Watson's just put in an unbelievable tackle. Scott Steele on at scrum half.
Yeah, so Scott Steele actually was he was at London Irish.
Yeah,
wasn't playing at all. I think he even got released, and then came to Quins post COVID. I think he was out of contract. So before the end of the season, came, didn't really know what to expect. Just started playing fantastic over the ball. I mean, we've even been in games said no one can touch a ball except Steeler because he's that strong. So all the back row, yeah, you go in. Because as well as the 9, what's really good is a lot of tackles. You sit behind the gain line and tackle line, so people are making tackles, and if they go over the gain line slightly, a lot of your defenders are half a metre in front.
Yes,
they're all slightly behind, so they can get over the ball.
This office that I'm sitting in, David Cherry and Scott Steele have been in at some point. They're former pupils here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott Steele tried to take a drink out of my hand in a nightclub in London. That's the only way I know him.
You'd had enough, Tim, though, so he was probably trying to do you a favour.
No, I think he had enough.
Here we go, Hogs. What do we think?
Hey?
What's the decision here? Oh, Hoggy's, and he's taken it away from Finn.
Did he get it?
Finn's not got this range, has he?
It looks like it's difficult conditions. There's a bit of rain coming down, so you wonder.
No.
Yeah. This might well, if he gets this might well be the game for Scotland.
I love this guy, Beno Abano. Do you know him, Robbo? Do you know Beno Abano?
He's been in camp a couple of times when I was there, but not massively. He raps. Have you heard him rap?
There's an awesome documentary. Have you seen the documentary with Beno Abano
I haven't.
and
No, I heard.
Maro Toji? Very good. I think it's on Amazon.
Yeah, about racing rugby and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
I've got some time, so maybe I'll do that now.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing now that Dave Cherry is a former Tyndale player.
Oh, was he? He was at Curry.
Yeah, played Tyndale Curry. I've played for Tyndale back in the day.
I love Tyndale. Brilliant club.
Ah, it's good, isn't it?
Beautiful setting as well.
Richie Gledson from the Rugby Tour Specialists. He's a huge Tyndale man.
Great club. Beautiful little setting. Good rugby people. Always a nice welcome. Nice. Good after match food as well.
Ah, great. And a great dirty pint as well. Actually, you see the dirty pint there? So that they can literally put anything they want in it. Mine had peas and potatoes and all sorts of stuff in it.
Oh.
And obviously, if you don't finish it, it's considered, real bad etiquette. So I've gone halfway through this pint, and I've started, inevitably throwing it back into the glass. And I looked at everyone thinking that this would be the end, and I just saw a lot of expectant eyes. So I had to finish it.
Great take, Hamish Watson. What a boy. Maro told you over ball, though.
I don't think it's easy out there right now. It gets wet, slippy.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing in your own 22 like this.
Robbo, how much homework did you do with referees around the breakdown and what their sort of do's and don'ts and what you could get away with?
Yeah, you would do a lot. And actually, as captain and coach goes to meet the referee the night before games of an international setup. So you'll go and sit down a lot of the time. I don't know if the captain does too much anymore, but you're basically just sitting there chatting to the ref. And look, he's going to ref the same way. You can say we're playing Scotland now. You'll be like, oh, we think Hamish Watson always puts his hands on the floor before. So can you
just mention
kind of do this? But yeah, it's a bit strange, really. It almost feels like you're kind of like buttering them up, kind of thing, to be honest. But then as soon as you leave, you see the other coach and the other captain walk in straight after you and say, "Oh, can you watch Curry and Maro doing this time?" And I think the ref, as soon as you leave, just kind of forgets about it all, to be honest.
Who do you think that comes from? Is it the referees that want that interaction, the coaches that want that? Where does that come from?
You know what? It is good though. It's nice getting to know referees a bit more, and I think probably definitely as I've got a bit older, you do build a bit more of a relationship with them, because they are human as well. And a lot of the time, you only see them for 80 minutes on a weekend, blowing a whistle at you, or you're moaning to them about a decision or something like that. And you realise after you spend a bit of time with them after games, and they're good people, they're nice people. I remember we played Argentina when it was a Lions tour a couple of years ago, and John Lacey, very stern referee, very stern. And chatting to him after the game, we're like, "Oh my God, like you're like a nice guy. What's all this?" And he was down in drinks with the boys. We were putting them to shame. Honestly, it was phenomenal. So, because after England games on your debut, you have to have a drink with everyone. So we had to get John Lacey to down a beer or something with the new guys. And yeah, he could put them away. I'll tell you that.
How did you get on with Nigel Owens? He's obviously retired. Was that an enjoyable relationship? Was it all about Nigel?
Yeah, I think Nigel's the only person to full name me by my mum and my wife.
I remember he called you Christopher.
Yeah, and I didn't actually realise in the game, but I think kind of subliminally, kind of in my head, years and years of kind of being, shit, I've been naughty now. Like, I'm going to go away. I just turned away. But Nigel Owens is gay, and we played. I can't remember who we played, and Dave Ward was our hooker, and he threw the line out. He didn't have the best line out for us, and he threw it, and it basically hit our scrum half.
No,
So we've gone down in the pack to kind of bind up or whatever, and Nigel Owens has just looked at him and gone, "Dave, I'm straighter than that." And fair play to him. He does have some very good one-liners and stuff.
He's a good guy. He's a really nice guy. I remember being in a nightclub in Wales, and he was just feeding me vodka straight from the bottle at one point.
Anything for a free drink, Apis. Avoid buying them.
We can get.
Exactly.
God, that was a big mistake.
Oh, the NutriBullet's going straight through him. This, see, that's why
he's off again.
Stick to the whiskey. He's gone.
Hey, we might have this here, Bruce.
Yeah,
I don't want to get too excited, but
it just worries me though. 4 minutes to go. It's only 5 points.
They have to score a try.
See this, so look, free kick though. So you got to keep this in.
Free kick. He's just made a knock on.
Oh, there you go. I missed that. Let's see. What is
you're
that?
behind on the stream.
That's a shocker.
One of the world's best wingers has just knocked the ball on. Just sums these times up, doesn't it?
He looks like he should be singing "Tainted Love." That. Oh,
I mean, take points now and you're done for.
But even
Eddie
just
Jones'
screwing,
hat is on sideways. He's so nervous.
Just screwing some time out of the clock. Set the scrum. It's going to take another minute or so.
Nah. Mate, come on.
So a lot of the predictions have been absolutely blown out of the water. I didn't see anybody go with predictions of this low scoring.
No, but no one knew it was going to rain. Well, some people may have known. I didn't know it was going to rain.
The game has been open though. Scotland have had 20 odd visits to 22.
Yeah, this is real nice little
They
start.
just want to get a penalty now, don't they? They just want to get a penalty, take themselves without that.
If they win this, Scotland are basically winning the Six Nations.
Visser, have you seen this cheeky comment on the screen here that's not got a name to it, which makes me a little bit suspicious? So I'm just going to let you read it and answer as you see fit.
Can other people see this or not?
It's got nothing to do with me.
If Tim had been a better defender, would he have played for England? No, I don't think so. I was playing for Newcastle back in the day, and my contract ran out. Steve Bates, the new coach, didn't really like me, so didn't renew my contract, and I got signed by Edinburgh. It was literally as simple as that. There was nothing else to it. There was no international, nothing to it. I just needed a job. I got signed by Edinburgh, and 3 years later, I got an opportunity to play for Scotland, which was beautiful.
Robbo, England captain, 2 minutes to go, 5 points down. Scotland have got the ball. What are you doing? What do you say here? What's the? You've obviously rehearsed scenarios. What do you do here?
Especially now it's wet. You don't want to be anywhere near your half. You just want to get down there. That was the right decision. Unfortunately, not the greatest kick. Puts you back under pressure. Which is not ideal, but you want to be down in their 10 meter channel, 10 meters and halfway line. Don't want to overplay. Don't want to give them an opportunity like they do now. Get a scrum or something. Get a line out, kick down. Then you've got to get out your 22 down the pitch. Again, they haven't watched in a long time. A little bit nervy. England's bench is probably a little bit stronger.
What is going on?
What is Finn doing there?
But why even bother? There's a minute to go. Why would you put yourself under that pressure? Oh, man of the match, Stuart Hogg. Would you have picked that?
Wow, no.
Stuart Hogg, man of the match.
Well, Tim, you did say he looked good with his new hair earlier, so.
His new hair serving him well.
See,
no, I wouldn't have said that. I've not seen... He's made a couple of good breaks, to be fair, but so has Cameron Redpath.
And he's just kicked the ball dead to give England the scrum. There's 17 seconds to go. What? Right, go, call it. Yes or no, Robbo. There's 10 seconds to go. England scrum on their own 10-metre line. Can they win the game?
Well, they can, but I mean, they're going to have to do something pretty special, I think. Tim, if Scotland win this, are they going out tonight, or is it kind of focused for next week?
No, they're on the plane. They're straight back up. They're on the plane, straight back up.
I mean, you can't go out, but you know what I mean.
Go on, boy. Go on.
Are they having beers on the plane? Are they kind of singing?
Nah, not till next week. They're going to beat Wales first, and they're going to go lose.
I remember when we lost to them and seeing the videos of them all out and kind of laid law and singing the national anthem, especially a bit where they swear at the English a lot.
Yeah,
wow. Wow, I didn't expect that.
I'm confident.
I'm sorry, Tim. I'll eat my words for that score prediction.
Yes. Thank you. Rugby Bash #1 and a win for the mighty Scots.
Well, if Hamish Watson is not lying now,
how is that match? Come on.
That is how you start a rugby bash. That is how you start a rugby bash.
Robert, I feel really sorry for you, but
I mean, look, fair play. I mean, with that kick as well out on the last play of the game. I don't know if he's kicked the ball before, has he?
That's
a big drink for me.
Wow. Did Scotland last win there?
1983.
Wow. So now from an English and a Scottish point of view, your whole mood
yes!
Where England would have thought, you know what, we want to win a Grand Slam this year. All of a sudden, you lose that first game. You're playing catch up to everyone else. Mentally, you're all not quite as high as you were because you're sore. You've lost at home into a game which a lot of people from the outside world thought they should have won, potentially.
Kemi Redpath, super chilled that he's chosen Scotland.
Dave Cherry. Dave Cherry thinks international rugby is easy. Gets off the bench, gets a win at Twickenham.
Stuart Hogg, full hairline. Good on him. Hamish Watson's Lions. Van der Merwe not look too bad.
Tunis pretty chuffed.
Done a great job.
I mean, defensively, Scotland looked good, didn't they? They were strong, physical. They matched that physicality, which we asked. From an English point of view, they're going to be gutted. They'll feel that was a tough game to come through and not get the result they wanted.
But it kind of shows how good England are in that, Scotland had the majority of the ball there, attacked relatively well, and they only really managed to win by a small margin.
Yeah, I think that also shows like a lot of the kind of France game earlier where they, I think, scored 7 tries. It is tense, it is tight, and people often say like we want more high-scoring games, and it's tough in international sport. There's not much space. There's not much space. You go to the Premiership or the other leagues, you get defenders who are at different standards and all that. Here, you're getting the best defenders, the best attackers, all that kind of stuff.
But also, rugby has gone. Rugby has evolved as a game so much with the inclusion of defence coaches. I think back in the day, even if you look, 10, 15 years ago, the game was played in a completely different way because defence was so less dominant than they are now, and that's probably more evident.
Whereas it was very much a drift defence, wasn't it? You give them a side and kind of use a touchline for it.
Outside, see what happens now. Everyone just flies over the line. Now the game's evolved, and not for the better. And I think with that, the upping in the physicality of players. Everyone's big, everyone's strong. Conditioners have had a field day in the last 10 years. There's not really many small players around anymore, and that's when you look at like the likes of Darcy Graham, Bruce, and it makes it all the more special that he is so good in international rugby, because the game has just become so
Tim,
side focused almost.
Sean Maitland had a decent game, safe. Duan, pretty safe, scored a try. Yeah, just try to wind you up. So the winner, we've got a prize winner, gents. The man of the match was Stuart Hogg, and the person who predicted that and has won a bottle of Glen Turret whiskey is Ollie Brooke. So congratulations, Ollie.
What it is?
You have secured just a hope, Ollie. Ollie, I hope you're over 18. Otherwise, you're getting one of Chris's NutriBullet green things. That
otherwise, send it to Robbo.
So congratulations, Ollie. Delighted for you. We're also looking for the best picture. And the winner of that will be given a free ticket or a free login, whatever we call these things nowadays, for a future Rugby Bash. So, gentlemen, what does that mean for next week? Next week we've got Scotland on a Rugby Bash against Wales. What do you think that does for Scotland?
Wow, it's a huge confidence booster, obviously. England away is one of the hardest fixtures out there, and to now take a rebuilding Wales, I guess, if I can say that, to come to Murrayfield is a completely different challenge. Not one to be underestimated, but I think with the confidence that they've hopefully gained and the lessons that they've learned today, you'd hope that they can win that game, and then they can push on. It's hard. It's so hard to look long term with Scotland because, as we've seen, when we have injuries and we miss key players, like Stuart Hogg was man of the match today, if he goes, or Finn Russell goes, or name it, even one of the front rowers, suddenly you've gone from a really dominant team to one that you just don't know what to expect from, and it could be good or it could be bad, but it's just inconsistent. And you'd hope with everyone coming through in the next couple of weeks, they can have a really good start to Six Nations, hopefully get a win next week, have a rebuild in the fallow week, and then, we push on. But, it's a dreamy start for Scotland. And I think, we've always thrived in awkward situations. Shit weather has always been a leveler for Scotland in the past, and shit situations, because we favour ourselves as ones that can overcome adversity, and I think the current COVID situation may well play into our hands, and it certainly seemed like it did so today.
There you go. There's our last win. Roy Laidlaw scoring a peach of a try there in 1983, when his kids were pretty young. Robbo, how would you take on the press after a loss like that? What would be your message?
Do my brand.
You'd be sending someone else out to do it, I think. Look, it's whenever you lose. Whenever you lose, it's never nice to do press, and you've got to try and put a spin on it somehow. You can't. It's very rare you can go, we were terrible at this, we were terrible. I think also you have to hold your hands up as well and say Scotland outplayed them. Defensively, they were brilliant, like you said, Watson. It was a tight game. It was a gritty game. And they fronted up, and sometimes you do. I think possibly that kind of, because I think what is the Celtic League now called? The Guinness?
the Pro 14.
That sums you English people up.
The Pro 14. But sorry, I think with that, because they've also been playing, the English guys have now had 3 weeks off as well. So I think that looking at the teams today, I think that benefited us. That they kind of came out, they looked fresh, they looked kind of match sharp, and fair play to them. I'm sure they'll be having a couple of red wines with Finn Russell dancing. I hear he's quite a dancer on the plane on the way home. Him's whiskey, you can get it sent to them. But look, you got to say, look, fair play. Fair play. It's credit to them. They've come down and done a job in England. They saw an opportunity, and they've exploited that today.
And what does it mean? Does Eddie make positional changes? Is there anyone you think can come in and make a difference, or?
I think with this, and I think if guys play well or don't play well, I always think if it's a regular guy or something like that, they should have 2 opportunities. If it's kind of two bad games back to back, then maybe you look to alter. But I think he'll be asking for a response for them. I can't see too much change. He'll be asking for a big response. I think is it Italy next week? I think for England. And again, now they've got to start. They've got to start going for points, don't they? They've got to go for 4 tries a game to try and hope someone else now slips up and try and win it on points difference. So that does change your perception of how you're going to play and what type of thing you're going to try and achieve. And yeah.
Would you start Courtney Laws?
Probably, yeah. I mean, the thing is with Courtney, though, he's been injured. He's probably not had that much game time. So that might have been another factor, which is to come into it. But look, he played a bit today and going into camp and stuff. The more he plays, I can see him come back in and starting, yeah.
Nice. Gents, we've got a winner of our picture. It's one that we saw. So let's just have a look here, and it is the Neal family who have a pretty sweet little setup. So the Neal family, who will be sad English supporters, it looks like, but hopefully we've cheered you up a little bit because you'll be invited to join us for our future Rugby Bash. So although we hope you enjoyed your afternoon, you're probably disappointed with the result, but hopefully we'll get to see you again for one of the future Rugby Bash legends in your living room, brought to you by Glen Turret. So we hope to see you there. Robbo, have you downed a pint out of the Calcutta Cup? And there's no point in asking Tim this one.
I'm sure we're going to get a bit of Ryan Wilson photos up somewhere later, aren't we? I'm sure he'll be appearing with the cup. Yeah, I have done it. I haven't done a Dean Richards where he kicked it down. What's the main street in Edinburgh?
The Royal Mile with John Jeffrey.
Royal Mile, yeah, kicking it down there, playing football with it. I've not done that, but yeah, we've had a
street called in Edinburgh. Listen to this Southerner.
He didn't know what the Pro 14 was called. He doesn't know what the Royal Mile is.
I just didn't want to call it a Rabo, because I know it was a Rabo once.
It's the Rabo, like.
And I think that would have upset you more. Exactly. You were playing there, Tim.
Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing the highlights of you playing in the American League, buddy.
Yeah, we'll get you over and play as well.
No,
I hope it's all.
I'll come and watch. Yes.
Sure.
Nice. Well, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch with you, especially as I'm quite pleased with the result. Viss is quite pleased with the result. Robbo, not quite so much, but it doesn't happen often. Clive Woodward and Johnny Wilkinson are eating huge slices of humble pie right now, I think. Big Jim Hamilton is back to being true Scotsman and singing the national anthem. And he's from that lovely part of Scotland called Coventry. So great to see Big Jim on the TV. Gentlemen, brilliant to have you. Robbo, all the very best. I hope America goes very, very well. Like this, I'm looking forward to tuning in online and catching you carving it up in the Major League. And I hope you enjoy your cup of tea in the morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, my signal was being a bit dodgy here in the hotel. If we do it again, we'll make sure it's fixed. But yeah, well done, Scotland.
Thanks for the Wi-Fi.
Tim, I'm sure you'll enjoy that whiskey tonight. And have a great day.
Awesome. Cheers, Robbo. All the best. Thank you very much for joining us. Tim Visser, you look comfortable, happy. You've got that warm Glen Turret glow.
I'm just settling in, Bruce. I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, you could come over here, we'd finish the bottle, have a great time. But we'll have to wait a couple of months for that. But, we'll take it. I think great start for Scotland. Great start for Rugby Bash. I really enjoyed it. I hope everyone at home did. Thanks to all of our sponsors and thanks to you, Bruce. I thought you did a great job. And next week, you will be hosting Wales, Scotland with Jamie Roberts and Johnny Beattie, who are both better crack than I am. So enjoy that one. But we've got a fantastic lineup throughout the Six Nations. So keep tuning in and keep looking on Twitter. But thanks for having me and thanks for being here.
Visser, let's go for a walk together. Will we meet and go for a walk? We're allowed to walk.
I'll bring a hip flask.
Top man, Viss. Great to see you. All the best.
Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, mate. Good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the happy Neal family. Ollie, I hope you're absolutely delighted with your prizes. There's not much we can do about the game other than enjoy it, and I hope you did. England will obviously be disappointed with the result. But that's the way it goes, and that's the Six Nations, and that's the Calcutta Cup. It means a lot to both teams, and Scotland are going to be pretty chuffed. I hate to think what England are going to do now, because they're going to respond, they're going to react, and they're going to go for it. Thank you very much to our sponsors, to Snackfully. I am almost there. They are outstanding. Enjoyed them very much. As I said, the chorizo cuts did not last long, and I've got a new bunnet to cover my my Dave Cherry look, my baldy head. There was a few decent baldy boys playing today. Thank you very much for joining us for the Rugby Bash Legends in your living room with the Rugby Tour specialist, Sky High Sports. You had your box. I hope you enjoyed. Keep tweeting. Follow us on social media. Use the hashtag RugbyBash and keep in touch with us. To Kerr Stewart and his family down in Jedburgh, I hope you've enjoyed it. You'll be delighted that Stuart Hogg, who walked in the same corridors as you, Kerr, at Hoyk High School, I hope you are absolutely delighted, and your message from Hamish and Jamie, and you'll be able to meet the squad in person at some point very, very soon. To Sean Phelan, who's backstage pushing all the buttons, from Fill Your Boots, and from Richie Gledston, who is the Rugby Tour specialist, who is the man who put all this together. Thank you very much to everybody who contributed to this, and thank you to you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope to see you again. I'm going to be here, I hope, for the whole of the Six Nations, because where else would you rather be than right here watching rugby with us? Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Bruce Aitchison. I'm from Happiness is Egg-Shaped, and I'm signing off a very happy boy tonight. We'll leave you with the Glen Turret advert to sign off, and all the very best for the rest of your weekend. It's going to be a great week if you're Scottish. Happiness is Egg-Shaped. Thank you, folks. All the very best.
Here, at Scotland's oldest working distillery, everything we do is underpinned by the three touchstones of the Glen Turret Trinity: provenance, prowess, and passion. Our extraordinary provenance is founded upon the long history of this special place, the remarkable endeavours of past generations of owners and distillers, and the unique character of the new make spirit that continues to define the Glen Turret today. Our traditional prowess is built upon the skill and expertise that goes into handcrafted whisky making, an unusually slow distillation process, and a resolute commitment to small batch production. Finally, our enduring passion reflects our continuing fascination with the tradition of distilling. Our delight in every step of the whisky-making journey, and our deep desire to bring whisky lovers moments to treasure, in spirit and glass. The Glen Turret. By hand and heart since 1763.